Move fast to war.
Okay, so in theory, we're up and running.
Ah! Yes, it's fine.
Good. And you can hear yourself and
Yes, yeah.
go.
Yeah, audio's all good.
It's so weird the way it's editing out my hair now. It's like, okay, we'll take this bit off, but we'll leave you this bit at the bottom.
Well, there you go.
What's that about?
And that's sort of what you get for doing that.
Yeah, it's probably exactly what I
Sorry.
deserve for that. Right, so, welcome to the Invasion Session 72. That's really all I got.
Hello.
The 10th of November 2021. I'm Ryan, the GM, and here are the players.
Good evening, my name is Alexander, and tonight I'll be playing Fleabite the Skaven, who's still pretty terrible at everything.
Evening, everyone. My name's Chris, and I'm going to be Keldrath the Dragonborn Monk.
And also, good evening from me. I am Colin. I will be playing Vangar, the Dwarven Cleric Druid.
Yata. We are here. No Eltrist tonight, sadly.
No Eltrist, no cry.
Nope.
Hope everything's okay.
Indeed.
Yeah, Godspeed.
So, what is remember from last time?
You know, honestly, I don't remember.
Flying
What? Right.
elephants and a lot of camping.
Yes, we had a conversation with elephant people. Conversation with elephant people. Yes, there you go. You know why I was pleased with phrasing it like that? Because it's nearly a Buffy episode.
Okay.
One of my favourites, actually.
Okay. Anything else happened last time? So you met who? Just remember who? Sufim?
Yes,
Yep.
Sufim.
Mhm. Yep. And what was Sufim's deal?
Not Holden Webster.
No.
Okay.
Yep.
Something that I thought was noteworthy is that Evershade is almost as old as Barris.
Yep. Yeah, you couldn't actually go over that after the chat.
Almost as old as Barris.
Yeah,
But because Evershade is supposed to be the original human city.
Yep.
Was what you described as, right? Yeah.
Yep. I think
It's got to have been around for a good while.
that's exactly what I said to Alexander after the session wrapped. It's like, yeah, but it's where the humans came from. So, yeah. Just let you know that the Baru aren't
I like the
necessarily
idea
old.
that they came from it, like the city was there and then the humans
Disappeared. Yep.
From the cities, the humans came.
Like if you build a city, it's inevitable that humans will appear.
Yeah,
it's kind of like that.
Beat them in.
Like a liminal space for them.
Who needs zombies when you've got humans?
Exactly, right? Exactly.
That's how you get zombies, usually.
Oh
Because
dear.
no one could be bothered spending the brain energy to make elf and dwarf zombies in their tabletop.
Although to be fair, in Starfinder, to its credit, the zombie token is in the Soki.
In Starfinder, I think I've told you this, I've seen 3 representations of the Barai, the type of undead that my character is.
Yep.
I think they're all Lashunta.
I think so. Yep.
There's no mention in the lore that like almost all of the Barai are Lashunta because the Battle of Blargy Flarg. It just is the case that on the rare occasions they draw the Barai, they almost exclusively seem to draw them as Lashunta.
I assume it's like the one person in charge of that specific art project just
Has a
really
thing.
just really like gothy Lashunta.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very strange, but it'd be interesting if that did influence the lore, though, in the sense of like maybe long ago the Lashunta were at war with the Alibrians for whatever reason that caused more cases of Barai in them. ...
Yeah, but there doesn't actually seem to be any reason for it. It's just the art worked out that way.
Yeah.
Curious.
Yeah. Okay, so anything about this game that anybody else remembers though?
Well, we talked to an elephant. I thought we discussed that. We were going to follow him, but elephant flight.
Yeah.
Jetpack, ears, whatever it might be.
There goes my
magic, probably.
a visual.
The party sort of made their way up to the sort of cliff edge, camped. We were going to make our final voyage. voyage. Not a
Sure.
voyage. It's a voyage. It's a
Journey?
voyage. Nothing wrong with not a voyage. Journey, trip, approach to the city of Barris. That was pretty much that. We tried to get information out of him. He was surprisingly tight-lipped for a creature that has a very large mouth.
My notes consist of very little for that session as well. My notes are divine coincidence, party met Sufim, a Baru.
Yeah, divine coincidence was like sort of his way of expressing what Banger would call, oh god, what's the term
Divine
I always use that I
providence.
always forget? Providence, yeah,
Yeah.
providence.
Yeah.
It's Vanger's view that sort of like, we still have, to act, but there is a plan, something is pushing us, there is a goal.
It was good. It was a good chat he's had about that because he's kind of discussed very briefly like your belief structures and conveyed them quite succinctly. It was good.
It's interesting as well because like I have played previously, very briefly like a paladin, but I've played mostly pretty godless characters.
Ironically, your paladin was very Elric.
A little bit, yeah.
But that's because that archetype is very common, though.
I mean, yeah, spooky sword man, like and especially the elf, because Elric's sort of like an elf, right? Whatever his race are like are very weird humans. So, yeah, it's easy to fall into the archetype.
Yeah.
To fall into the archetype is probably an help. But yeah, we sort of discussed that. So we sort of gleaned he wasn't supposed to be outside. He never explicitly said, I am breaking the rules, but it was very clear that he was like, oh, I'm not here, Ho, ho, ho. Obviously, he wasn't. It would have taken a lot to get him to take us inside.
Yeah,
A hell of a lot.
It was him kind of going against his core beliefs. You could tell that he wanted your help if he's, were able to kind of justify him kind of going against his beliefs. But yeah, there wasn't that enough of an oomph for him, and it's not, as I said before, it's like it is a difficult thing. As I said, I didn't have it written down what the magical passphrase was. It was just if you could justify it, then go for it. It also just didn't help that it was it's a bit of a big ask, really, especially given that he did reveal as well that it seems like the Illithid have taken up residence, or at least visiting.
Yes, that probably should have been mentioned, and for some reason we didn't mention that there.
Yeah, it's okay. I don't mind bringing it up here.
The baddies for those who haven't watched Stranger Things. We got another Stranger Things reference.
Wolfhard. There you go.
Wolfhard.
Yep.
What do you reckon? Like season 4 is going to be like Orcus?
I don't know, like a beholder. I hope. I'll be honest.
Beholder makes more sense because Beholder like aesthetically fits with the the Mind Flayer and the Demogorgon. Well, Demogorgon would fit quite nice, but like it's sort of definitely that sort of weird alien biology, but sort of similar enough.
Because they're all kind of aberrations, right? So they've all like they've kind of stuck to that, like Orcus being kind of fiend level and like deity level. Yeah, it's a bit.
I mean, Demogorgon is.
Yeah. It's not as extra, shall we say?
I think it looks less like just like a typical evil demon.
Yeah.
Like
it's a very big bad. In terms of like the Stranger Things selection, like Mind Flayer is relatively low rent compared to them. But
when they first turned up, like a single Mind Flayer was a big deal.
Yeah.
So you can understand the context of an 80s show.
That's why I think because a beholder is like double the danger that a Mind Flayer is mechanically speaking. Like I think that could be a good trick because it's quite iconic as well.
Yes, no, you're completely right. It is probably the most recognizable D&D specific villain. Like, everyone knows Dungeons and Dragons has dragons in it, but
dungeons.
Imagine you didn't know Dungeons and Dragons had dragons in it. How impressive would you be?
This time.
I mean, a year of playing D&D, more than, and don't think we've seen a dragon.
We've talked about one though, and in the end, isn't that what really counts?
Oh dear.
Has
Okay.
there been a dungeon? There's definitely been a sewer.
I would say that the sewer counts as a dungeon, right? Anything that is like, I guess, enclosed and
Yeah.
dangerous counts as a dungeon.
What's his name's cave? I think is definitely.
Yeah, you had
Dungeony, yeah.
I was going to say
It
yes.
would definitely fit the dungeon definition used by
True.
like early MMOs.
Well, like Chiro Optera's little cave, and you also had arguably like going through the house, like them.
Took me a shockingly long time. to
It
get
did, and I
that.
was kind of impressed I managed to get away with it as long.
I don't know how you blew that one past us.
At night, so it was harder to see.
Oh,
Yeah, especially because leaning into the bat thing was just great. I think because it's also like you would think it was like Cairo, right, as opposed to Chiro. Chiro takes the edge off
Yeah.
it a little. But anyway, besides all that nonsense, yeah, okay. So the Illithid seemed to be above Sufim's city. Seemed to be influencing people he is not happy with. So there was that. So he definitely
And-
seemed eager. Yeah.
Yeah, due to that, he made it sound as though it's going to be very difficult to infiltrate the city without getting caught. That's what he was alluding to as much as anything.
Mm-hmm. And then like the more you kind of highlighted, you know, oh, could we do this? And the more he realised like how dangerous it actually would be to get using, he was like, maybe I should go back. I've been out a long time. Since he did seem to be like, after obviously post murdering those 10 Gith, you know, wants to go long rest and get his XP. That's what he wants to do.
Mhm.
So yeah. But yeah, he definitely seemed, in D&D terms, he definitely seemed more like an artificer than anything else. So very tech-based is what he seemed. But that kind of like, that should check out with what Fleabite's understanding of the brew is. Even if Fleabite has never met a tech-based brew. Yeah.
it's gonna be a long, long time.
So, anything else worth mentioning, or is that the gist of it? I think that is roughly the gist of it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I think a couple of us were surprised that we didn't get Cynthia.
Yeah, I was wondering if you're going to mention Cynthia.
Yeah.
Yep. But we did.
Yeah.
I did say with Checkpoint, you asking Fleabite to do something about that in the morning. Of the camp when you wake up, so we can definitely go back to that. Although
The only other thing I would like to mention is that Fleabite is under the impression that other people have been in and out of Barris.
Mhm.
So
yeah,
it's that knowledge we need to find.
well, like technically, you had Abtag kind of confirmed that as well, right? Abtag said she'd met
Yes, that's true.
Brew and Cynthia. So yeah,
Suspicious.
yeah.
But Safim did say that like Nioda was an exile, so the way that they got out is not necessarily.
Yeah, they were probably put out. Yeah.
The rubbish shit. Yeah.
Yeah. But that is definitely worth noting. Yep. Has there been any, Alexander? You might be able to help me because your knowledge spans as much of the game as mine does technically. Any other instances of like Baru, like coming and going from the city, or anyone else coming and going from the city that you can recall? I mean, besides certain finale cutscenes that people got.
I think the one that sticks in my mind is because it was like not true. Is like for some reason I thought Tanan had like a Baru trophy, but I think that was confirmed not true. That was just something I made up.
Yeah, it's because I discussed putting that, and I think it's because I told you this outside the game that I discussed putting like a Baru like head
Yeah,
above
you had
his.
a monster trophy of some
Mhm.
sort, and
Yeah,
I think someone else took it as a dragon head.
yeah, it definitely
Weirdly
looked
enough.
dragony. I definitely said it looked like that because I was debating whether or not I wanted it to be like a Baru to give you guys the confirmation that he.
It's like if we'd asked him, we'd be like, technically it's a wyvern head.
Yeah.
Wyverns are just a type of dragon,
Oh.
and even that word.
I
is
love that that's your
relatively
Tonan though. That's my favorite.
I just get really upset when people think wyverns are somehow not dragons. Like, unless you're in Warhammer, yes, they fucking are. Anyway, sorry.
That's okay. It was worth it for the Tonan impression.
It's just my technically or actually
Also,
voice.
it reminds me of that time where you're like, I can't believe I was in front of Tonan and I didn't use my eyes of the grave.
You know what? I had a bad habit of not doing that, and I think I've started to get.
Oh, you're definitely more in the ball now, but it was when you realised, because you were obviously discussing the vampire elements of
Yes.
that like story, and you're like, I could have just answered that question.
I know. I did feel like a bit of a chump.
But
Not
no,
gonna
like,
lie.
that's the thing that I think's quite fun about the game, where a lot of people like complain about like paladin abilities and like that cleric ability where it goes, oh, it ruins storytelling. It's like, well, only if your players use it, right?
Yeah.
Like,
It honestly, I can see there are definitely stories you would want to tell where it wouldn't be a case of, oh, I use my twice daily. Is this person a vampire?
I mean, Curse of Strahd, there's lots of forums about this very exact thing about Curse of Strahd, because the ability to tell who is and who isn't who they say they are is kind of crucial to the plot of that game. And because that game was written and then so many additional D&D abilities have been added, it's kind of
Even
tricky
like
to
the
run it.
basic stuff, like in PHP, you've got like I cast tell me the truth.
Yes. Yeah, it is.
Oh, I
it's
move
quite
out of the
brutal.
ring, I tell the truth. Oh, he's lying, lads. He
Uh-huh.
won't stand in the truth place.
Uh-huh. Or when people just choose not to speak when they're under that spell, and it's like,
Yeah,
how
it's
come
like
you're not
we
answering?
know why you're doing that though. So
Yeah, it kind of gives you the answer without you getting the answer. It's. But again, you know my feelings about something like as simple as a level 1 spell comprehend language. That ruins a lot of plots, if you ask me. It's like, oh, I touch the writing and I read the writing and then the plot's solved. Yay! None of this ancient text has to be deciphered. Oh, it's been mistranslated. Well, no, because the spell did it. So yeah, D&D has
Well,
that
you're not
issue.
going to like my
Oh,
character very soon, are you?
yeah.
Sorry, did
I was gonna
pick up?
say, no, it's okay.
Yeah,
we
yeah,
got
love
you.
it.
We got you though.
what do you get? What does Keldrith get?
I can understand any languages and anything that's written once I move up a few levels.
That's like,
Okay, yeah, that is as someone who likes stories, that upsets me.
but can you see how like that's a relatively high level thing a monk gets compared to a level 1 spell?
Oh, 100%. But
Like,
it's still like
Like going
It could
to,
waste a lot of storylines, yeah.
but like you like think about it from a what you represent narratively in the story, right? You're not just like a random guy in a town, right? You are like quite a significantly high leveled character. So if you're an NPC, you are the guy. You'd want to go to the crazy dragon monk man that can speak all languages to answer that question, right? That is a cool plot element to get at a high level. Whereas at level 1, you can just go, boop, I get it, I understand it. And you're like, why is there mystery in this world? But anyway,
Yeah.
that aside.
it's the Matrix thing, right? It's like I know Kung Fu. I have downloaded Kung Fu.exe.
Yep.
Where's the fun in that?
Yeah, it is slightly dumb, but it's also because people want cool abilities, right? So I do understand it, and you do get games where languages are barriers because nobody takes those skills, and that can make it quite interesting, but it just becomes a tedium at some points. Like we've had it in this game a bit where like, you know, only one person spoke Giant and now none of you speak Giant, so now we rely on, you know, like charades and or like parsing different bits of language like primordial and stuff. So
Just history.
yeah.
History rolls.
Yeah, but like the history rolls
By
are,
invading their mind.
yeah, exactly. But like it is good when you get excuses to just like hand wave that shit away, right? Anyway, so with that in mind, Colin, what are our goals?
What are our goals? Starting from the top, we have reach the city of Barris. We're well on our way. Decide the fate of the dragon egg smiley face. I think we've pretty much, for the most part,
We
come
just
to our
kind of need
decisions.
Fleabite's input to like.
Yes,
Yep.
and I think we also sort of need to get there to be in a position to know that, you know, we actually did decide that rather than just think about it and then completely change our minds at the last minute.
Yeah.
So is that something that's
Which I
gonna be
was hoping to
solved?
do this morning,
Yeah.
but somebody's not here again.
Well, he's given us his opinion, right?
Yeah.
Like he did lock in his opinion. I don't think that's
Yeah,
gonna change.
Callum.
Yeah,
That's a joke. 'Cause
Callum.
Callum also left this game.
Yeah.
But we know
So-
what his opinion was.
He wanted the dragon.
Of course he did. Start the death Cynthia predicted. Predicted, sorry. Which you probably know. Defeat Menglod, which longer term. Secure safe exit from mountain. Again, longer term, because until we get off the mountain, that's not really achieved. Fliapity, would you like to do, or shall I just do all of them? Fuck it.
Yeah.
Fliapity wants to convince me that the will to avoid cold blood violence will lead to the worst consequences.
Can
He wants
you,
me to
though?
fight people more.
Can you do it in Fleabite's voice though?
No.
I was gonna say that's a rough ask.
I can't really do a Skaven voice very well. Eltrus wants to find out exactly why his skin changed from wood to rock. And I'm gonna guess because he's the element guardian guy of the forest. But who knows? Vanger, which is me in this context, wants to keep the party alive until we reach the top of the mountain. At least till we reach the top of the mountain. And Keldrath wants to protect the egg, which certainly suggests that he has decided what he wants to do with the egg.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Boom.
There you go. That's our goals. So without further ado, let's just jump straight into use all, I guess, packing up the camp, or like, resolving the camp in the morning, and we can have those scenes checked off there. So everyone is awake. It is a nice, I guess, reasonably sunny morning. You can still see the kind of overcasty storm off in the distance. As I said, it's maybe 2 days travel at a push to get to the storm. Beyond that, what do you do?
Get up.
Yeah, user up. User
I'm going to take my
already.
usual.
Do you think the Cynthia mentioned probably is something I should do?
Mhm.
Like, just not quite sure how exactly. What shit?
Well, everybody's packing up their stuff at the camp. Assume that much. And Keldrath, if you wanted to have ticked off doing your after a long rest thing, you can do so.
I will prepare my cookies.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And-
Prepared.
Obviously, I will dish one out to the gentlemen in the team that are here at the moment. So
Yes.
you can add that to your pack.
Excellent. Your temp HP cookie.
Mm-hmm.
Do you accept cookies? Yes. Nom nom nom. Oh no, my data. Okay. Fleabite, what are you doing in the morning when you wake up? Besides summoning your armor and your, everything else that you do.
Probably scoffing the cookie.
Just straight away, yeah.
And having a good scratch. Did we camp not that far from the water?
Yeah, I think he's only
Not too
camped
far.
we're
Up
in
the ridge.
yeah,
Hmm.
at the top of the waterfall.
Then look distrustingly at the water and go back to scratching.
Okay. Yes, there's your in, Vanger.
Okay.
Just pushing him into the water. No.
No. I think. Yeah, I'll just sort of approaching him and say. So, this seems to be the final leg of the journey. I'm surprised we haven't had a visit from, you know who.
I think Fleabite would probably just look up at the mountain and the storm, and then look down. Can we sort of see the clouds layer from below?
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah. You've got a pretty damn good view above the cloud layer. You've been above the cloud layer for a couple of days now, I think.
The idea of a storm above the cloud layer is kind of cool.
Yeah,
actually.
I thought so.
I like that video.
It tells you it's not normal, which is what I like about it.
Not normal.
So yeah, but you can see like the kind of the clouds, the kind of darker area that's clearly the Evershade kind of portion,
Okay.
and then up above, because as I say, it's quite bright. It's a a binary system that we're in for this world because of tedium earlier in the campaign, and yeah, you've got that dark storm cloud off in the distance, which again for you is reminiscent of Little Bellinor.
Is it lighter on certain cycles?
No. It's just always the same lighting.
Then
For budget reasons.
Fleabite will probably just say, "Great distance and much time passed, yes."
I don't know. It just struck me that she sort of had an inkling about what we were going to encounter on the way up, and that she had a way of appearing. They're so close now. Just strikes me as strange that she hasn't appeared. Not strike you the same.
I think Fleabite would probably like internally be like, "Why would it hit me?"
Oh.
Nothing would strike Fleabite. His reflexes are too fast. He would dodge
Yes.
it.
And think then must be on right path, yes. Only arrive when look of go wrong direction, yes. Must be of going correct.
Well, to be fair, would be hard for us to go in the wrong direction at this point. He sort of looks up to the storm. Maybe you're right. Maybe she's just not appearing because she's not concerned about us going off course.
Also, could be much worse havoc go on down under clouds, yes. Could be all dead already.
Well,
Something akin to humor.
I hope not. Definitely didn't get that impression from Sufim. Sorry, I should have said that Viger's accent, as if there's much difference.
Yeah, it's okay.
There is a difference. Didn't get that impression from Sufim, but sort of just looks worriedly up. Well, I don't know. Just and he just sort of looks, staring into the distance, kind of looking pensive.
Fair, yeah.
Mammoth in talk warn of other enemy, yes. You know of this creatures?
Oh yeah, sorry. I should possibly say. I learned a little of them from the Gith. Still, it's funny seeing it. Shouldn't be a storm up here, you know.
And they of infiltrate attack, but not direct, yes?
Yes, the parasites.
Fleabite just blinks.
Scratches.
They infect the host city, the host people, in the mines. I'm not quite sure how it works, but that's the impression that I've got. Certainly.
Do you know how, if we must fight through, how to defeat Reed?
Well, to be honest with you, if these creatures have been moving from world to world, laying waste to civilizations, and the Gith have survived by running away, I'm not sure fighting them is the way to go. Not directly, at least. Maybe we can. Maybe we can get in under the noses somehow.
Think that mammoth things will of defeat or be defeated?
Gave the impression the city was very much occupied. I think. I think if there was a fight, they've more or less already lost it.
What of chance that mammoth things supreme of be lost?
Okay, now you're gonna have to explain that one meta-wise, sorry. Or I could roll. What does he mean by that?
I was sort of trying to get of like, do you think he's been infested?
You know, I did think that, but then I doubted myself. I think it would take Vanger a similar sort of moment to. Oh, I see. What you're meaning. Well, I don't know. He seemed reasonable. He seemed to have his wits about him. He didn't attack us or anything. But I suppose I don't know that I would know if someone was infected with one of these creatures. They seemed reasonable. Control of his senses. Aye, well, true. We can't guarantee. It's a worrying idea.
You of think elf things that you stay with know that these new enemy are up Mount, yes?
I don't think they'll know they're here. Varys is so secretive. They might know they're in the mountain. They certainly turned up, well, other side of the world, and they arrive from the skies. I don't see why they couldn't turn up anywhere, but I don't. Which I constantly get the Githyer confused. Githzerai? Githyanki, am I trying to say?
Githyanki are the aggressive ones, Githzerai are the
Yeah,
fleeing ones.
Githzerai. Githzerai. They didn't give us any indication that they expected Lilith to already be present here. Started the camp. Of course, can't always take it for granted that that necessarily means they know they. I'm sure it would. They might prefer that we go, even if that be the case. After all, if this dragon egg really is a solution, but I don't know. I don't think they had any idea. The Baru being what they are, I don't think anyone did.
Do you think the Brew have been infected from their leadership down? And our friend, we don't know his role within the city.
No,
Could he just be a soldier and he sees the pain his world is now in?
makes sense. You're gonna, but
Don't know how their civilization works, so we can't know until we get there.
yeah, true. I think it would make a lot of sense for them if they were going to treat gradually, do it more from the top down than the bottom up. But I would think if they're smart about it and if they've been bouncing across different worlds doing this, they probably are quite smart about it. They're probably going to try and infiltrate every level of society, monitor everyone. Considering how noticeable their presence is from the outside, I don't know how subtle they're truly being. It might be part of the weapon. Everyone knows they're there. You talk to, I mean, I don't know what the infection looks like. I don't know what the feeding looks like. It could well be that you could turn to your neighbour one day and tell him how terrible this invasion is, and it turns out that your neighbour's been replaced by something wearing his skin. I- It's it's a horrifying thought, but I think I think the fear of not knowing who is in their grasp, well, just occurs to me that if you combine the two things we know for sure, that they're parasites and that their means of invasion are not subtle, I think the most logical conclusion is they are quite happy with knowing that they're there because the presence itself implies a threat. You don't know. Then they wouldn't need too many at first. They could spread from a few. If everyone's already looking over their shoulder, they'll be too afraid to act against.
Yeah.
But the thing that really concerns me, truth be told, he sort of looks down there. You can maybe just see a leg poking out from the tree line or something. We fought those gifts before. And as I was saying by the fire yesterday, they're no slouches. We won. We won our fight with fair numbers. And I think we could have done the same again after we had a little sit down. But it was hard without some of my most powerful healing magics. I don't know that I could have kept some of you alive in that fight. And frankly, I can handle myself reasonably well, but I'm left alone with them. Oh, not going to last very long at all. And that's what concerns me. It's only because we act as a group that we're able to overcome them, even when the numbers are even. It's the fact that while they were all tough, skilled warriors, that seemed to be all they were. If one Baru with admittedly some sort of fancy magical devices, I'm not quite sure, but a big, powerful creature with clearly some sort of ace up its sleeve, was able to handle how many of them? And near instantaneously. And a city full of them, hasn't been able to stop the invaders.
But maybe what you allude to, the fear of not knowing who's infected, could you turn against your brother? Could you turn against that neighbour that you think might be infected, might not be infected? If you don't know a, a visible, we just don't know how the infection works, but infection,
True.
is that the right word?
Infestation, I suppose.
Yes.
But we do know there has to be a start. And that's why it concerns me so much, because it's a powerful weapon, fear, paralyzing. But there must have been a time when no one or very few were infected and something arrived from the skies. The fact that they didn't just obliterate them then and there before it began, maybe some sort of strategic error on the part of the Baru allowed it to happen. Maybe it was too far along before they realised what they were dealing with. I don't know. Maybe they still haven't fully realised what they're dealing with. Maybe our friend Safim, maybe he's one of the few who hasn't had the wool pulled over his eyes. Perhaps most of them don't even perceive the threat. Maybe there's never been a fight. I certainly hope that's the case.
It makes you think why the dragon is so important, or why the dragon egg is so important. Are they immune?
If I had
Are
to
they just
guess,
powerful?
I suspect the Gith, whatever world they're from, clearly they'd seen dragons on their way here. Maybe dragon doesn't mean quite the same thing in every world. Maybe it does. I don't. But there's more to a dragon than just a big lizard. They are creatures of power, and I have to hope that that power will protect. And it may be simply that they estimate the dragon to be so dangerous that the Elithid won't be able to deal with it. And that's what concerns me, because I don't know enough about dragons to say exactly what a baby dragon is going to look like. Can't imagine they come out of the egg at full strength, though.
But
So
even
Fim,
at great strength, not unstoppable.
No, you're right. They were stopped.
alluded to, he said sciences, where as much power as we put into the dragon egg.
I
I'm
know
sure that's wise.
that yes, he seemed to be getting to something about the potential stored within it. That perhaps, yes, perhaps all it will take is fire. Does he mean that perhaps because the egg has sat there so long, it has built in strength already, and that a sufficient release of energy will make full dragon from it? Or does he simply mean that with enough heat, it will break out from its shell? I'm inclined to think he was suggesting that it would be able to make itself useful. It wasn't as clear as I would have liked. Spoilers. I've actually seen that creature before. I'm not sure what book again. Very cool. I think we just have to take it as it comes at this point. We're on the doorstep now, and may as well knock. Not literally, of course. I mean, we want to sneak in, but you follow what I'm saying.
Yes.
Well, Fleabag, anything else to add? Are you good?
Probably just looking up and thinking, we may want to knock, but we may find the door hits us before we hit it.
You've had experience of that before.
Well, I suppose we should all eat and then think about making those final steps.
I've gone into trance mode.
Okay.
Is that the right way to put it? I don't know. But again, I'm going to start with preparations for traveling.
Okay. As I said,
Don't know.
you've already got your, as I said, I think you went for the hawk again, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go for the hockey and this time for traveling.
Yep, so you're already set up for that. I think you did that. Yeah, I think you did that when you were with when Sufim was with you and you did your short rest.
Yep.
So you're good. For that, you've made your cookies as well. Anyone else doing anything else before they set off?
I think this being beginning the last sort of stages of the journey. No, I'll do that later. I was thinking I'll give you a little bit of meta insight, folks.
Okay.
I was thinking that this is sort of like the final stretch, so Banger's probably going to be sort of like more. Not that he's not paying attention, but there's part of his mind that's on the idea of of the divine plan now, right? This is our mission, this is what we're here for. And he's sort of half looking for signs, half praying for guidance a lot of the time.
Okay, yeah.
And I think there will be moments where he just takes some time to pray or do simple rituals that aren't for any sort of mechanical effect or anything. They're just sort of acts of observance. He's maybe not going to really do anything too visible right now, but on the journey, maybe that's the sort of thing he's starting to do.
Okay, yeah. Again, the Providence vibes hitting him harder and harder as we go.
He's expecting something to sort of make itself known to him, I think, at this point.
Okay, yeah. But yourself, Fleabag, anything you're wanting to do before you set off?
No, I think I'll be okay for the moment.
Sure, yeah. Well, he's going give me your survival roll then, whoever's willing to take the lead on this last leg.
I think I will take the lead on this one.
Okay.
As Vanger's just said, he's kind of distracted.
He's not going to be completely off the ball. I think he is going to be able to help, unless, of course, our fine GM rules otherwise.
No, I think it makes sense that maybe you're the one doing the backup to this role, right, as opposed to the lead. I think that does make sense that Keldrath's the one, because Keldrath's the most, openly, I want to protect the egg character at this point. I think you're still kind of waiting, almost to be, told is this the right thing to do or not, Banger? Like, whereas Fleabite's very cards close to his chest. So I think it does make sense that we've got Keldreth leading it. You can still assist and grant advantage. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. So hit me up with
Survival?
your roll. Survival with advantage, yes, please. Okay, it's not bad, not bad, not bad. Siren has given someone inspiration. I'm unsure who it is aimed at, but it has been given
It's
nonetheless.
our new character inspiration time.
Ah, inspiration time.
Oh.
Or is it
okay.
inspiration for time? So yeah. Okay. Well, thank
This
you
is
very
how we
much.
represent inspiration time.
Just lots of geese. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That's very strange to say lots of geese, because you'd think it'd be lots of the singular, right? But anyway. Geese in itself implies lots of gooses. Okay.
Goosels.
Who among you doesn't have your inspiration ticked on your sheets?
That's an excellent question. I think I don't.
Yeah, anybody else?
Yeah, I don't.
And Keldreth, do you have your inspiration
I
ticked?
don't know what you mean by ticked. I've got a kind of
You got a dragon coiled
dragon
in it?
sign in it.
Yep, that
Yeah.
means you've got yours then. So do two of you usually roll a d20, and we'll see who gets it.
Yes.
Okay.
Really.
Hey!
Could I have gotten inspiration on that roll?
It's wasted.
It's like, no! You could have. But yeah. And
See,
Kieran-
that kind of makes sense to me at the moment because Fleabite is the only one with any kind of
like knowledge, really? Like
knowledge
Mhm.
of how to get in, and or might have. You know what I mean? That
Okay.
kind of makes sense to me. Yeah, perfect.
Also, Colin, you also get inspiration from Siren.
Yay! Thank you. That's very kind.
Indeed, thank you very much. Right, okay, yeah. So, based on the roll, it is going to take that bit longer, right? So it is probably going to be like more like a day and a half worth of travel. So, I mark off the aforementioned rations, because remember I said to you that you'd managed to get food, like you'd got supplies at least that you could feed the party for so many days.
Yeah, 3 days worth.
Mm-hmm. So, feel free to mark off a day at least for now, because that's happened and we have moved past it and such. That implies that you've camped for a bit and moved on again. And yeah, like you're well into the second day, and like you're, seeing the storm a lot more close. You're still not covered by it yet. Like it is relatively contained. You get to like the peak, as it were, through all the trees and the jungle and the lush foliage that's around you. A lot of like the place does kind of thrive with wildlife as well up here. Like it's a lot more kind of tropical and lush at the top of the mountain. You get to the very peak, and you realise that you're now looking down into like a basin. Once you've like hit the peak, and at the, you could say the base of the basin, yeah.
Ah, yes, the base that is in.
You finally see it.
It's Gondor! Minas, what's it called?
Minas Tirith. Yeah.
Minas
Tirith, thank you.
Yeah. It's yeah.
It is
like,
a little Gondor.
I was gonna
isn't
say, if Minas Tirith and Isengard had a child, sure. My immediate brain was like, but
Great.
Gondor is a country. And that's where my brain.
Listen. And Africa's a continent. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
So
People are still gonna get confused.
So yeah, you look down into the basin. Obviously like fairly localized above like this kind of like crater type basin like is the storm, and underneath you spot the city in all its glory.
Well, how are we getting in there?
Mm.
And this is an accurate-ish representation, right? So there is a body of water around it.
Yep.
Makes sense for a city.
Yep. So imagine like the crater of a volcano, on top of it. This is like nestled in there. And these are like way up on the ridge, because obviously you'd have to go up and over.
And that is a bridge.
100% bridge all the way in. Yep. Seems to be the only way in.
Okay, I can see my stealth check coming through this.
But yeah, this is definitely a bridge.
So obvious ways in.
Is this also a gate?
There is one way in. It is this, and that is it. That is just a tower, like all of the other towers. I think it's because there's a wall, obviously, and like all the walled ones seem to have double.
Yeah.
So
Is it a wall or is it a viaduct?
it's a wall.
Yes.
And that is probably just a bridge, a big road. So it's a people duct.
Okay,
I'm
so
I'm standing here thinking I wish this dragon could fly.
Yep, I was waiting for Could Fly to come out of that, yep.
Anyone see a sewer pipe or anything?
well, once we get closer, we should investigate, right? The sewage has got to go somewhere. Unless you're telling me
For a
elephants
city
don't
that
poop.
big.
Yeah, you know what?
I like the idea that there is just this moment where the three of you are just standing for a long period of time, just taking it in, being like,
You know,
huh.
yeah.
Because it like this does mean quite a big deal for this world, right? The fact that this place does exist is important. It is the equivalent of finding like Atlantis or El Dorado. Like,
Well, there it is. Very profound, right?
Indeed. Indeed.
Eltris is so
So-
shocked he's quiet.
Yeah. Mentally composing love letters to Sarah.
Mhm.
Wishing you were here.
Or wondering whether how many women are in the city.
Yeah, or any of the women that may be in the near future. Just writing love letters with varying size of gaps in
Mhm.
them, so that you can write different names.
Yep.
So the egg. Would you want to bet it's in the middle?
Yeah, what do you want to bet? It's right at the top in the middle. Oh, not too obvious.
I mean, if I were gonna keep a dragon egg in my hidden legendary city in a volcano, well, and it's in a mountain, but really, it's a volcano. I think I would do it in the big old ridge in the center of the city. Probably in that sort of chapel looking building. Or maybe the one behind it. That looks like it might be the way up.
Sadly, it doesn't rotate.
Safim
map,
didn't
so-
suggest. Yeah. Safim didn't suggest that the dragon egg was known to everybody, or for that matter, hidden to everybody. But if the illicid haven't destroyed it yet, maybe it's well hidden somewhere.
He did certainly indicate that it might be around. I mean, he could have told us never existed, it's gone. So maybe that's the case. Yes, maybe that
Mhm.
is.
So, first step, get across the bridge. How do we do that?
How do you do anything without getting spotted, right?
Yeah.
Like, quick, somebody respec into a wizard.
Can I suggest we don't go across the bridge?
2 options, yes. Be spotted or be not spotted.
I prefer the latter.
I would agree.
You also get all of you got the impression from Sufim that if you were spotted, you wouldn't really be given much in the way of mercy.
Yeah.
Like, the
Yeah, indeed.
secret is relatively precious to the Baru.
I mean, it's it's precious, but we got here.
Yeah, how long did it take you and how hard was it to get here, mechanically speaking? Reasonably.
If you discount basically everything beyond basically meeting Keldrath,
Okay.
like they're keeping the secret wasn't really that effective, considering we knew just go up mountain would eventually get us there.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
The challenge was getting up the mountain, not so much that there was nothing to find when we got there.
And like the Brew were legendary. They weren't like
Now, my description was mythical.
mythical.
The only reason why they went for Fleabite is because Fleabite travelled with one. But, like, Lauda was, like, one of the only Baru to ever be seen.
But he wasn't. He didn't introduce people to the concept of the Brew.
But it's also like saying, oh look, it's an elf from the North Pole. You know? It's met with the same conviction, as it were. Not many people that, if Lauda introduced themselves, oh, I'm a Baru, by the way, they'd be like, okay, sure.
And this is my friend the Leprechaun.
Yeah, exactly. Um,
I'm just thinking of that bar woman in Brunstad that's like, so is it true you can use your nose to drink?
But that could be, like, made up from, like, nursery rhymes, right? Also, people in Runestad is a bad gauge of what's normal in the world.
Yeah, it's really-
Okay? Runestad is weird.
So,
No.
or we suggest we make our way down to the water side and try and find another way in. Circle the city.
Agreed. A lot of sense to me.
Okay, that might take a while, but yep.
Yeah,
definitely-
that's. I was expecting that.
Okay, so if you were looking to try and, like, go down to, like, the waterfront and then, like, do the outer perimeter, not so much obviously the inner perimeter where the wall is, the middle island, but, like, the outer perimeter where the I guess I'd call it the meniscus, but yeah, like, where that is, that would take a couple of days. It can be done.
I mean,
I just can't think of another way at the moment. That's
Yeah.
going through my mind.
yeah, I'll be honest with you. I'm really struggling to think what a better strategy is. We need to stake out the place a bit. We can't just go in the front door, so we need to have a look around. That means
What-
we need to go down. Sort of.
What-
one
What
for the-
kind of distance would you say it was from the water's edge, this side, to the water, to the wall?
Where to where?
If we were standing at the water's edge, right below us, from
You mean
there
like from
to the
like,
wall, is it?
for example,
even-
like from there to there?
Yes,
Like
yes,
what's
yes,
the actual
yeah.
distance there?
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know how big this area of the city technically is, but considering it's almost that distance there, I have no idea.
Mhm.
Right? Like significant, not jumpable. Yeah. Like in mind, this bridge is very big, very big.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm
But in terms of
trying to
actual
allude to.
sizes, no idea. Plus, it's probably quite hard for you guys to gauge anything this far away. But if you imagine, like, you know, if this is some kind of chapel or palace or something, and, you know, these bigger buildings are significant in some way, then it means all these tiny roofs are like full-on houses or structures. So
Yeah,
yeah, it is quite
it
a
looks so
significant.
small when we're far away.
Exactly. Like from this distance, Fleabag could maybe get everything in the bag of holding, so long as the spire thing doesn't pierce it. Yeah. But yeah, like there is very little I can really tell from this distance, and as for quantifying things, it's pretty big. It's a very big city, but it is clearly like self-contained that way. They obviously haven't decided to expand. It doesn't look like there was like an inner ring, and then it grew, and they built like a new wall or anything. It does seem like they've stuck and stayed the size. Yeah. So, if that's the case, you just want to head down and then go around. I'm assuming you're going to go like, you know. So if we assume this point of view is where you guys are, right? So you're at this side of the bridge. Are you going to go anti-clockwise and round to the other side of the bridge, or are you going to just go clockwise all the way around back to where you are, but only at the waterfront? What's the plan?
Should we flip a coin for it?
It's up to you, unless you
Yeah.
have like a particular like plan. Because are you trying to avoid the bridge initially?
I think it's probably wise to try and avoid the bridge.
Okay, so
At the present time, yeah.
So if you
Yeah.
climb down from where you are, like which is on this like mountain edge part here, and you climb all the way down, and then you, I guess, go round, and then try and scope out the bridge before you approach. Is that the?
Yeah, well, as Fleabite, I think it was suggested, we will look for a sewer inlet or something like that as we're wandering around to see if there's any way across the water and in through
Yeah.
more sewers.
Okay, yeah.
If there's nothing like that, then obviously then it's back to the bridge and seeing what we can do there. That would be my thoughts anyway.
I would quite like to investigate this area.
Assume the water goes all the way around and it's an island.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So, yeah.
See.
Yep.
Okay.
As I said, the only like way actually in on foot does seem to be this way from what you can gauge, and assume the water goes all the way around. So what you're seeing visually, like here, just assume it's all the way around, because it does, I think, in this image stop here. But this is definitely all still water, and then there's mountain at this side. As I said, it is nestled right in the middle.
So
Does
Unless somebody brought wings.
Sorry, what was that, sir? What was it, Alexander? Let's start with you first.
does it appear that the bridge is going to somewhere, or is it just going out?
Yeah, like the bridge goes to, you know, if it was this way, it would like go to there, and there's like another kind of like, you know, gate thing that just it stops it, right?
Like it goes into the mountain, or it just stops?
No, like it stops and there's like a gate, as if this is the way in.
I'm
So-
just trying to think. Is it a road to somewhere else? Like,
No, it is. It clearly is just the way into this place from, you know, the untouched basin walls. If that makes sense.
Then there's more to the group than
Mhm.
than anything else. Do you think Safum just flew from here into the city?
no.
You think he walked along the bridge?
No, because I thought like his way in and out was covert. And
Exactly.
he probably has
So,
a designated place to go in and out. Really, not just fly in.
Mm-hmm.
exactly. So that's what we're looking for. That covert access.
Makes sense. So, any particular inclinations as to where to start looking?
If only Dylan was still here playing the game and he'd taken Skywrite like I'd recommended. How do we get in? Just in the sky.
Odds for left, evens for right.
Just depends. Like, it's up to you guys. If you want to investigate like the gate first, the bridge gate, as it were, or if you want to avoid that and go all the way around and then circle back to it.
100% want to go around. I don't think anyone's favouring going into the bridge, but it's a question of like, where do we start looking other than the bridge?
Are there trees on the mountains?
Yeah, like it's quite. As I said, the description I'm going to say is lush. This area is all lush, very jungly.
So, how big of a forest fire can we create?
Based on the humidity here, probably not a massive one. Ultimately, like lush does come with like wet, sadly, but I mean, yous have got enough magic, I'd say, between yous to do something. What's the goal in mind?
Draw people out of the city.
Okay. I just don't think it would really matter.
What if
For them.
instead we use the forest as cover? Alright, okay, so my inclination is.
Keep in mind as well, guys, just in case it's not super clear, like, this is all forest.
Mhm.
Like, so. And that does go all the way around.
Use the forest fire as like smoke. So that the entire place is just.
But. So my thinking is right. If we go over here, yes, that's a tighter sort of circle. But sometimes being too close to something can mean missing it. But also getting over there without using this.
Mm-hmm.
Circling the basin, yeah, it will take a while, but it's.
Which way is the river flowing?
It's not a river, it's a nice big, like, I guess lake, I guess you'd call it. Yeah, the water's quite nice and idyllic and still and, yeah. Also, that's not a valid question, Alexander. You know that. What way is the river flowing in a fantasy game? Whatever way one of the many moons pull it.
So. Genuinely, like. I think it's completely arbitrary where we start looking, but I think we have to start looking around it. Clearly, we're not going to get in the front door. Clearly, walking up the front door is going to make us extremely obvious.
That's sort of why at the beginning I was like, if you can't do it sneakily, do it loudly.
I understand. I just don't know that that's going to help the through the front door thing. In which case, we still need to find an alternative means of entry.
But if you guys go loud and through the door, and I am not in danger, but psychically linked with you, and that way we can know if that works or not.
I mean, we would learn.
Or Fleabite climbs in the bag of holding. Vanguard turns into something that can throw the bag of holding really far. And then I have no other plan.
Get one of these birds to just drop me off.
Stork
Oh my
your way in.
god. How many of us can you fit in the bag of holding?
Probably all of you. If you emptied some of it. which is the
And he can control the bird. Can he control the bird from inside the bag of holding?
Wait, how can I control the bird?
no,
No,
like
he-
Keldrath can
Keldrath.
see
Oh.
through the bird. You cannot control.
Oh, he can't
The
control
bird.
it.
Also, it's a hawk, not a giant eagle.
It doesn't have to be. I mean,
Not
the
a
bag of
griffin.
holding doesn't weigh that much.
It's like
Can he not?
isn't the bag of holdings like 15 pounds or something?
Nah, maybe a hawk couldn't hold that. To be
Like
fair.
yeah, yeah. I don't
What
think
about a cat? Could a cat drag it in?
Definitely not. 15 pounds. No,
literally what the cat dragged in. Is that what we're going for?
Exactly.
Laterally what the cat.
Exactly. And there's the show.
Yeah.
We
There's
do
the
know,
episode name as well. The cat dragged in.
we do know that they have cats.
Yes, Paku.
Really do.
So that's your access. It's just the other
Well, it's the start of my access.
two. How high's the wall?
Exactly.
Significant is my answer to that.
How much rope can a cat carry into a?
Is the hawk just find familiar?
Yes.
Yes.
So it does obey commands.
But carrying a 15-pound bag of holding is not something it can achieve.
Can it achieve something if it was something bigger than a hawk?
I don't think it can. Like, I think any of the options that you get, because that's why Find Familiar isn't carry the party in a bag of holding into the plot. As fun as that is, and you know I would let you do it if it could do it.
It does say
So-
horse, but
They say what, sorry?
Seahorse.
Yeah, it does say seahorse. Yes.
I was like, oh, it's hard. Oh, no.
We talked
So-
about that last time.
Do-do-do-do.
We had the waterfall. It's like, do you want to make it a seahorse this time? The one use it's got as a seahorse, which could be useful here, depending.
So from the description, then,
Mm-hmm.
you gain the services of a familiar, a spirit that takes on an animal form you choose: a bat, a cat, a crab, a frog, or a toad, a hawk, a lizard, an octopus.
Mm-hmm.
That might get us across. An owl, a poisonous snake, a quipper, a rat, a raven, a seahorse, a spider, or a weasel.
Yeah.
So I'm hearing we could have two cats here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just picturing cat chariot.
It's still not a solution, but it's certainly an idea.
So two cats carrying a bag in is what
I mean, probably. It is going to look suspicious, though.
it would be really weird for
And
them.
very difficult to achieve if you're not going to come in the front door.
I just like the image of an octopus trying to climb the wall with a bag of holding over its back, like a proper old-fashioned burglar. Like,
Yeah, but at least it could get us across the lake.
Meow.
was that the octopus saying meow to try and hide?
Yes.
It's octopus, so
Exactly.
Which is it's called that because the Greeks believed they were a type of cat.
Oh dear.
That's true. Google it.
So, I think what we've established is clockwise or anti-clockwise. What are we doing? How are we searching? This bank, the outer bank, or the inner bank? Like, yeah. If so,
My vote's Outer Bank, anti-clockwise because I like to be against things.
MD particularly against that plan. Flea bite.
no. I don't fully understand the plan, so I'm not against it.
Right. So you know what the difference between the inner bank and the outer bank are?
Yes, I do know.
Inner bank, outer bank. So Vanger's plan is to go down from this point that you are at just now, like up on the mountain, looking down, and climb all the way down to the water edge, the bank, go all the way around. First.
Sorry, could you say? Do you understand what Inner Bank is again?
I know.
Oh, I
Why?
wanted you to set me up for a bit.
Okay. Do you understand what I mean by inner bank again?
Yeah, it's where you put your money.
There you go.
Sorry.
Never say I'm not accommodating.
Appreciate you, thank you.
Thank you. So yeah, MD particularly against that because the other option would be go down to the water's edge, find our way across to the inner bank, and do something similar, right? It's not like you can't do both at some point. It's just going to take a long ass time to do each of them anyway. And obviously, the more time you spend in this area, the more likely it is that someone in the city will spot you.
The other thing I would like to suggest is as we are moving down the mountainside that we're looking for a cave access or something like that that would take us underneath the lake. I'm just...
Okay.
Yeah, that sort of thing. As I said, some sort of access. So we're investigating all the way. We're looking for any
Yeah,
sort
like
of access we can
it would
that
be
might
like
lead us.
whatever you're rolling for to like learn something. I wouldn't obviously let you just go, oh, because you said you were looking for clues this way, you didn't spot the clues, you walked right past. I wouldn't do that to you guys. Mostly because you can probably guess that at some point I kind of expect you to get inside, right? Like there's a meta element here. I do probably
Well,
expect you
it's-
to get in.
Kind of a crap ending to the season if we can't get into the city at all. You know what I mean?
It
Well,
We
would
get
be.
here and
yeah.
we stood out the wall for hundreds of years.
Yep.
So
Start
this is
your
how
own
you
city.
win as a GM.
Yep.
This,
Hmm.
they're okay. Let's let us just fucking go. Okay,
So
we'll go and we'll look, and if we don't see anything, we'll keep looking.
So, as I said, it's going to take a couple of days to get around the full perimeter of the Outer Bank.
I will be making berries
Sure, that's fine. Yeah, you can bury up.
just so that we can devote more survival time to looking
Mhm.
than to looking for food.
It's okay. So, obviously, this isn't really like an issue about navigating because you go to the water's edge and you just follow it around. It's very hard to get lost, right? So there won't be a survival roll for that.
Challenge accepted.
I'm not saying you can't hide, Fleabag. I'm saying it's hard to get lost.
Until we find that cave.
Yeah. So what we'll do is it will take you longer to do this if you do investigate checks. If you roll higher investigate checks, you can ask me more questions and get away with more stuff. Whereas if it's just perception checks, it's not going to take as long, but you won't necessarily gain as much as you would with an investigate. Because investigate is properly like taking time. For example, if Sufim did have a secret cave entrance, that's the type of thing you discover more easily with an investigate than a perception, right? So it's up to you how you want to do this, but let's just assume it's going to take something like, if you're investigating all the way around, it's probably going to take 4 days. It might only take, 2 if you're doing it with perception, right?
How do we feel about that?
I have no problem with that at all. I just want into the city now.
Yep.
Whichever is
Oh,
easiest for us.
agreed, 100%.
So yeah.
I will happily roll against perception. Shall we do that?
So is
You
that
want to do
you
it
in,
as
are you in
per,
favor of perception over investigates?
I think so.
Okay, because that just means you're doing it quicker, but you might miss more. That's all. Right. Whereas investigates are going to take you longer, but you'll learn more because you're taking more time. For example,
Okay,
a perception might
Can I
miss,
just-
as I said. Yep, no, you go, Cole.
there's no point trying to be quick about it, though, is there? Right?
Agreed.
So we're here.
Hence,
we're
what's your
literally at the top of
investigation?
the mountain. Who's got a best investigation? What's mine?
Fleabag, what's
I've got
yours?
1.
Mine's 3, and
Okay.
I can add a D8.
Yep.
If
What's everybody else's?
1.
Keldra?
So perception against investigation. Investigation is 0. Perception's 3.
So
my
Fleabag is
perception
the
is
smartest
3.
when it comes to investigation. I love
Oh
that.
yeah, no wonder.
But
you know what?
it makes
He
sense,
should
right?
be.
It
He's
does
a
make
sneaky
sense.
fuck.
Yeah, the one that would pour through items the most. So, what is the plan? Which option are you picking? The perception path or the investigate path?
even if it wasn't for the stats, I think there's no benefit on trying to rush.
Exactly.
So I would would lean investigate.
And I think Vanger, you're in the same boat there. And Keldrath?
100%.
I will succumb to.
Yep, the grander
To
will
that,
of the
yeah,
party. Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, indeed.
So,
But we make Keldrath do the roll.
The scarier thing is Fleabite's now leading.
I mean, Fleabite did start the campaign as a scout. It's just that as time has went on, his wealth increased, so he kind of became more like, well, what's the party like funder, as it were. Yeah, the bankroller. So yeah.
I thought you said thunder at first. And I was like,
Yeah, funder,
don't know.
not thunder. Yes, it's
We've
like
had
I-
a few
I-
people try to take the thunder roll.
yes, we have several
Yeah,
people.
that's true.
Yep. Storm sorcerers, barbarians again, clerics. Yep, lots of stormy boys. No offense, Eldris. You are unique. So, right, so Fleabite's taking the lead. Is anyone going to be helping Fleabite do this?
I think everybody will be, including the Hawk.
yeah. Does that count?
No, like the Hawk will help. Just remember though that for like you to actually see anything worthwhile in the Hawk, you'd need to stop and actually like
Yeah.
survey. But the good thing about that is if you travel, stop, and investigate, you can then your part would be meditating and going to the Hawk, which means Vanger would have to be the one helping Fleabite for the advantage there. But it does mean that if there's something easier to spot, I can have like the Hawk Lord difficulty, etc., etc. So I can tie it all into the one kind of big group role, as it were, which is good.
And to go backwards slightly, the Hawk's skill is perception, so.
But that's fine. It's like still the act of you doing that still helps lower
Yeah.
the difficulty of spotting stuff. Don't worry. The Hawk doesn't need to roll investigate alongside anything. It's just it won't be doing anything other than mechanically allowing me to move the difficulty from like an 18 down to a 15 or a 15 down to a 12 or something, right?
Perfect.
So, but for this particular roll, what we'll say is because it's going to take longer to do this, I'll give you guys 4 rolls as you work your way around. I guess we'll just treat that as like each quarter of the city.
Okay.
That makes sense. Like so, like day 1 is
Yeah.
like that space that user, like all the way at the banking. Day 2, day 3, and then day 4. So yeah. So give me the first roll, Fleabite.
And yeah, someone's helping.
I assume Vanger's helping, yeah. Because
Yeah,
that's why
yeah.
he's spending good berries, so he doesn't waste time trying to feed everybody.
Also, because we're going to be sort of going back and forth, if anything happens, same logic, I should be down a spell slot for good berries.
Yeah.
It'll be refreshing, but they'll always be down one because I'll always have spent one for the
Exactly.
day. So.
It does mean, for the sake of brevity though, you probably aren't getting your cookies right, because you're not spending supplies. That's fine. Yeah, so day 1, right? These are searching there. On this side of the bank, it is almost as if there's absolutely like no signs of any life that isn't wildlife, right? There's not any hints of even like flotsam or jetsam in the water or anything. Like there's nothing that indicates that this is used or traversed. The fact that like you aren't obviously too far away from the gate at this point, there's nothing that indicates that that's even used. Right? It is there, but it doesn't seem like it's not like there are people standing guard at the gate all the way around. No sign of tracks. But with a 21, you're welcome to ask me some questions for things that you may or may not notice. So hit me up.
Should I? Is there? I'm kind of interested in sort of like what we were saying, that it's kind of a volcano caldera type idea. Is there anything else that would support that?
Beyond the shape, no. Like it isn't like there's like the temperature would support it, I suppose, right? The idea that this is quite like a lush jungle environment at the top of the volcano, and you've passed through various stages of weather environments. You also have passed a lava zone, right? So beyond that, sure, but it clearly doesn't seem to like affect this part. This does not look in danger of erupting anytime soon. Imagine that.
Unless.
What would be a good source of energy to hatch a dragon egg, I wonder?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Gun.
Is there any cave accesses that look like they may fit a burrow inside?
Yeah, so like I
to
think
walk in?
like besides like natural formations in the land, there is nothing that is either like artificially made or being utilized from the land. So, like even if there was like a slight recess in like some of the rock and ground, like it doesn't go anywhere. Like again, you might even find some animals in this place because it is like quite lush with wildlife as much as kind of jungle would be. So yeah. But again, you are definitely getting the vibe that this place is practically untouched. You guys being there is kind of the only thing like spoiling it, if that makes sense. And Banger, you got a question in mind? I'll give you another one for that. Yeah.
Sure. So fast sort of about cave access. You've said it definitely seems like we're the only ones who are sort of present here outside the city. So I guess doesn't make sense to ask for sort of like any signs of life outside the city. That sort of
As I said,
covered.
only beyond wildlife, in which there is like a decent chunk, but that has been the same case for the last couple of days of travel. So.
Ooh. I guess.
It doesn't need to be to ask the
Aside
question
from-
either. Like, don't mind if it's.
Is there anything that would clue us into, for instance, or do we see anything that suggests that people launch boats from here or something like that? Is there
Yeah,
anything
like,
to indicate that people
there's,
might
like-
be crossing from this area or something like that?
Absolutely nothing like that either. Like, there's no form of like jetty or anything. There's no like, as I was describing, like flotsam and jetsam at the start. Like, there's nothing like like almost like rope fibers that have been like as if this is where they tie the boats up. Even if there's no jetty, like there's nothing like that there on the banking. Or no, like some beaches have quite a bit of debris on them for just use, essentially just rubbish because they're not cleaned or whatever. There's nothing like that beyond again what you'd expect from an untouched beach. So yeah. So I guess that's day one, unless MD has anything else they can think of. But what you're getting here is there's nothing here on this side of the banking that's going to help you get in day one. Okay. Everybody happy concluding day one, and we can move on to day two.
Yep.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's the same process again, feel free to just do the same roll, unless we're changing stuff up.
Is this sort of a time when having the extra D8 comes in?
Hey, I'd let you know.
Okay.
I'd let you know. Okay, so I assume everything I said before applies again, and you can still ask me questions now.
I'm
That is-
not sure what new questions there are to ask.
Yep.
And where we're standing, is there any damage to the walls? Is there any sign of wear and tear or anything like that?
So
We might
from,
be too far away to see
I was
that,
going
but-
to say, yeah, like, why don't you give me a perception with your hawk? What about that? If you want to do that here, okay? Because then that's something you could have done instead of helping them. I'm happy with that. Because it doesn't take away their advantage or anything anyway. So, like, you
I'll
can...
roll with advantage.
No, you would still have advantage because your hawk has it.
Yeah.
So yeah, like, you look out through the hawk, because maybe obviously the lack of what you found on day one does make you want to focus your attention on the other side of the water. So like, you fly over. You obviously, I assume, don't get too close based on what's happened before with the hawk. So you roll your perception. The walls probably look like very, very, very kind of flawless white stone. Almost, I would say marbly, but marble looks like it's got a texture to it, if that makes sense. Like the almost kind of like, well, you'd call it the marbled effect, I suppose, wouldn't you? But this is almost like pure white stone. The walls are made of. No signs of obvious cracks in like the section that your hawk can glance at as it's doing its flyby. There are like other birds here, so it's not like your hawk stands out. So yeah. Right. Other two, Fleabite and Vanger, if you want, you can ask me another question each. And like, feel free to treat this as just the obtain information style questioning, where you can just ask me a question about things such as, is there a secret entrance? And I can just say no or yes.
Does the city smell?
Well, again, that would be a perception, and you'd need to be closer. You're on the outer bank. You're a significant distance away from the city.
So that means we're not downwind of a particularly smelly city.
It means that you're not currently doing that, because we're currently wrapping up an investigate roll of the banking. Yes. Maybe if you're investigating the inner banking, I'll let you sniff the city. So yeah.
So we are how far-ish across that water from it?
So, again, on the outer banking, and user like, if you imagine that going to the edge, and then all the way around, that's like the area that you're searching at the moment.
Yeah, but how roughly? So roughly, what's this kind of distance? What I'm trying to get it for.
Okay, why do you need the distance? Tell me that answer. What is it going to help answer?
It would sort of inform what I might ask. So, for instance, I was thinking, would we smell it from here? Probably not. But maybe it is also not an investigate. But I was wondering, would there be any giveaway sounds that carry? Would we be able to tell, for instance, sounds like this is the industrial sector sort of thing?
Right, no, okay, yeah, no, I get like your questioning now. But again, no, you're getting no sound from the city, from where you are.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yep, like there is the sound of obviously the jungle around you, and you know every amazing jungle movie soundtrack that you can imagine. But
does it seem like we're far enough that we shouldn't be hearing it though?
if there was like an actual industrial sector, you would probably hear something, right? Even if it was faint. But keep in mind, yous down at the waterfront probably can't see much other than that middle section, either, right? Because the wall would block out your line of sight.
Yeah.
By being so low down. So yeah, this is tricky. But yeah, the distance between that and that is some distance that someone can probably quantify, but it's not actually that important ultimately.
Fair enough.
So
I wasn't too worried about like the specific.
It's okay, as long as I knew what you were trying to ask. Yeah. But no, like anything perception based about the city, you're probably going to want to be on the inner banking.
Yeah.
Yeah. To try and gauge it accurately, at least. But yeah, anything else you can think to ask? And I don't mind.
Is there any indication? Obviously not recent, but of these banks ever having been occupied?
Yeah, no, and that's the strange thing about this. Like, if this was a city, like you would expect some indication that they were used at some point, but that probably implies that the city has not used it or needed that banking for a long enough time that nature took it back from any obvious signs that it was ever like, used.
And there's not. I'm not even seeing ancient remains.
Nope,
I'm
nothing.
just seeing
nothing like that. Yep. It kind of looks like somebody has clearly just put the city here and they've never needed to leave
like the city's fallen out of space. Oh my god, they're also aliens.
They're not the Drunai.
They've placed a stopper on the volcano using the city.
But yeah, that's pretty much what you're learning. Is like it does seem like they've been within the walls long enough that if they were ever outside the walls, then it's long since done, right? Long ago. Which probably ties in with how old, Evershade is, right? The fact that everybody imagines Evershade is a pretty old city. This place seems pretty damn old.
A pretty old city.
Yeah.
And when I was thinking of anything to ask, because I think I'm.
Yeah, we're pretty much on day 3. Yeah. So, day 3 then. Get me up.
Yeah.
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 Okay. Anything you want to ask me? Everything that we've discussed previously still applies.
They,
Playwright, Penrith, anything else you want to ask?
Something just for my own clarity. We're on top of a volcano, but the water isn't. It would be possible to swim it if we had to. It wouldn't boil us or anything like that.
Yeah, like the water is like, cause keep in mind you probably do need to like at some point drink it, right, and refill your what do you call them, water skins. So yeah, like you've been able to drink this water.
Okay.
Yeah, it is not like burning you alive or scalding you or anything.
Yeah. Just.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just for clarity. Right.
Yep. Yeah, I would say it's probably nice as what you've had in a while, but like most of the water on like Mount Barris is nice, right? Most of it.
good quality water.
You fast forward to the modern day campaign we set in this world, and it's bottled water in like a convenience store.
It literally just comes from like a tap in Evershire.
Yeah.
That's close enough.
Yeah.
To meet the
So yeah, I also like Vanguard wasn't necessarily wrong. I'll give you this for free because you can probably see it from a fair distance away that this particular tower does seem to be the way up. That seems to continue down that side.
It made sense that would be.
Yep. And it goes down as far as you can see over the wall at least. So yeah, day 3 done, and then the last leg. Nice. Can we also just take a moment to acknowledge how well you have rolled? Just so you know. See, taking your time in the abstract apparently influences Roll20 enough that it gives you good rolls, even though that shouldn't make any sense. So yeah, and yeah, exact same level of info from me. Nothing's changed. So it's very possible, like Safim either hit his tracks very well, flew straight in, swam, or walked across the bridge and just said fuck it. Like it's very difficult to tell. Like if he landed somewhere, you just haven't been able to find anything that would imply he landed on the outer rim and crossed over at the banking. Anything else you wish to ask? And keep in mind, with this roll, because you are back at the last quarter, it's going to include the gatehouse and stuff. If you can think of anything else you want to ask about that or the bridge.
Are we seeing movement?
Nope. Not at all.
Are we seeing signs that there would typically be movement?
Nope.
If you've like, yeah, okay. Okay.
So does anyone have a cardboard box?
Does anybody have a Trojan horse?
Actually.
What?
I could make
Okay.
one.
I think we should discuss somewhat in. It looks like whatever we're looking for, we're not going to find it on this side of the water. You try the inner bank, trace the bottom of the walls. You know, perhaps we can find a way. But how exactly are we crossing?
Can we see like anything on the like how guarded?
You want to give him a perception check?
You want me to do that with a hawk?
That would probably be more successful.
Yeah? Have at it.
I can't promise. But
That's my hawk.
Yep.
Sounds like a chicken.
Not a soul in sight. Yep, that bridge is empty.
How roughly long would it take to cross the bridge? I mean, it looks like it's a decent size, but it does look like it's more like a 10-15 minute walk for a normal person. So say like 20 minutes for Vanger, maybe.
Yeah, like if we say it's like a 10-minute walk for like a normal person, it's 15 for Vanger, right? Like, so yeah, that's, I don't mind saying that much. So then that we get all the people in chat calculating the exact distances because we're that kind of chat show.
While we're there, then I think Vanger's going to offer to cat up.
Okay.
I think then. No, that's not how he would express that. That's basically what I've just said. While we're here, I may as well see if I can get a quick peek around the gates. Shouldn't take me too long to get there and back. I should have more than enough time. Change if need be. If you like, I'll report back, but I know Hildrath, you seemed to be able to cross water. Perhaps if we wait for nightfall, we can meet on the other side. Or we could simply do that by nightfall, whichever suits.
So let me just look up a couple of things, shall I think are going to become important soon. So Fleabite, what's your constitution modifier?
The mod is 3.
3, right? So, let's see. You can hold your breath for 4 minutes. Okay. It's pretty impressive, right? Because it's 1 plus your con mod. And the minimum you can hold your breath is 30 seconds. So that's how holding your breath works. Okay. How long does someone get in the bag of holding?
I'm sure it was 10 minutes, but I will see what I can find.
I figure I may as well cover this maths now. Breathing creatures inside the bag can survive for a number of minutes equal to 10 divided by the number of creatures in the bag. Minimum 1 minute after they begin to suffocate. Okay.
So if it's 1, it's 10 minutes.
Okay, so in theory, you've got 10 minutes. Right? Because it's 10 minutes if there's only you in it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, which technically means you could go in your bag of holding for at least 14 minutes before you die. Which isn't terrible. Which gives...
What if I had a straw?
That gives Kildrath 14 minutes to cross that water. By carrying the bag over.
That seems very doable.
Right?
It's just that you'd want to be subtle about it. That might slow you down.
Okay.
You close to the bridge, sort of dip underneath if you think anyone's looking.
Kildrath, what's your speed? It's 35, 45, something like that?
I have just missed that whole conversation. I was kicked out of
Don't worry about it. What's your speed?
Discord. My speed's 45.
So 45 feet, and then times that by 2. And what's the monk thing that lets you move again? Is that key related?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll ignore that for now. So 90 feet per 6 seconds, okay. And there's... So we'll times that by 10. 90 times 10, 900 feet per minute. Okay, times that by 14. Okay, so you can move 12,600 feet in the 14 minutes. Don't worry, this makes sense to me. That is probably enough to get across. Yeah. And you have to do...
I do have an alternative.
Considering that is like give or take, is that 4,200 yards?
What you're meant to say is, there is another.
we could go under the bridge.
Under the sea. Well, you could.
Yes. And I can put Eltris in my bag.
Well, there's also that, yeah, that's fair.
Or I could make Eltris stick to the wall and go. But
You mean Eltris isn't just going to stay at this side to keep everything safe? No.
Oh, Mr. Eltis, can you watch our backpacks for a few minutes? I don't know why that was the voice that I chose, but it was, so there you go.
I should probably look at Eltris's con score for that, just to be nice, instead of doing all this maths without factoring his breathing in.
Our math.
So
it just, I feel like we're less likely to be seen under the bridge than just running over the water.
That is fair, although I was suggesting he duck under the bridge if he thought he was going to be.
So imagine the bridge like it's built in arches. It's not like you could just spider climb underneath and walk the whole way,
Okay.
right?
But we could just go on the side.
You could, but being on the side would, like, if there was
Yeah.
someone, like for example, if there was someone like here looking at the bridge, they'd see the entire side. There would be no like underside other than between all the arches. So it'd be like scamper around and hide, scamper around and hide, scamper around and hide. You see what I mean? So it'd be like tedious but doable, but like literally every time you went to go underneath a different arch, they'd see you. Like the only way to really do it would be like just, I guess, swim underneath, like at the side of it. But then you may as well do that where they're not probably looking, which is the bridge. But yeah, so bag of holding with both of you in it. You get 5 minutes each plus whatever your con mod is, plus 1. For breathing, I was going to look up Eltris's. Let me go find his right this very second so we can answer that. Where is Eltris's sheet?
Lower than it should be.
Con mod. I think his con's okay from what I remember. His con is a
It is.
+3. Yeah, so he can do 4 minutes as well. So they've got 9 minutes in the bag.
+3 is fine. He's a barbarian.
Yeah, so 9 minutes in the bag, and that is the absolute maximum before they die. So, yeah. That's reasonable. Think you could run across the water in 9 minutes, Godwrath?
Depends on the distance, yes, but think so.
Yeah, 9 minutes running, and again you can cover 90 feet every 6 seconds without spending key. You can do more if you spent key, but every 6 seconds you can do that, which is ridiculous. So, yeah, I feel like if those two went in the bag of holding, you could definitely get across with them. And that is at least, I would say, an efficient way to get across, if not a kind of quite funny way. The only thing is the bag of holding will need some of it tipped out, because I'm pretty sure it's still Chocka, flea bite. And there's a lot of Eltris.
Yeah, but do we really need Eltris?
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, when he's next
He can
tanking,
change into something. When he's back, he can change into something watery and float across.
He's a yeah.
like a log with his wooden armor, where he just lies there and you just push him across.
We don't know these things yet. This hasn't been investigated
Couldn't
by
you-
him. He's trying to prove or disprove these things.
So have him in his wooden armor, lying in the water, and then have your like find familiar be like a ferret, was it? And just have it like swim and push him across.
And this is where he tries to be all wooden, and Fleabite takes the huge amounts of wood out of his bag to give him to help him float across. Like, okay, no, it's fine. We don't need space. But
Just
you have to go
slowly
that way.
build a raft that's made of Eltris.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh dear, absolute nonsense.
What would we roll for that?
Mischief. So, what is your plan now? Right, so we've got on the table at the moment. The plans are: Vanguard goes and scouts a bit as a cat, and use Eltris as a raft. So maybe we should focus on one at a time. So Vanguard, what would you like to attempt to learn as a cat?
I would like to basically investigate the gate itself up close, sort of, wander over, get a look at this area, and then maybe drop down inconspicuously into the ground below, and hide out. The idea being, is there anyone actually at the gate? Is it manned? Is it permanently blocked up so that no one can leave? What's
Mhm.
going on? Why is it so empty out this place? Do they just not leave their city often enough?
Yeah, it is. It's
Yeah.
very strange, right? So the only,
Yeah.
mechanically speaking, so you're gonna shapeshift, cat your way across, scout around, and then stay on that side. And obviously, Alexander's gonna say, should we
Or
do the
come back.
psychic
That's sort of what he was
walkie-talkies before he does
raising
it?
there.
Um,
He was saying there.
I will say that if you do jump off the bridge, it is quite a drop, but you will be able to like jump and aim for a tree branch as a cat.
yeah,
to try and
he's
soften
a
it.
cat. He'll be able to like scamper down stuff. He can
Um,
try it.
But that will definitely be a roll.
Okay.
Just so you know, because it
Yeah,
is a
I can roll.
drop. But that's fine. Like, it's not going to be super difficult for you to like leap off as a cat and then like work your way down the tree or whatever to the ground. But it is definitely going to be a roll because it's a high enough drop that people couldn't just climb the tree and jump over onto the bridge. Otherwise, it's probably a really bad design. Right, and then Alexander, what were you trying to say there?
Yeah, just talking up before
Yeah,
we
I-
separate.
I figured you were going to suggest that because even I would have recommended it for the gang. So yeah. Right. Okay.
This might be a silly thing
Go for it.
to suggest.
Eltris is a canoe currently, so go for it.
Fleabite, your illusion magic that you used the other day, could
That
you
I've
cast an
successfully fooled one person in my entire career with. Yes, go on.
correct? Could you not cast something around yourself to make yourself look like a cat to get across the bridge? And that just leaves me trying to get across?
I would be a cat the size of me. That might draw as much attention as me.
Yeah, I don't see that being better.
Okay, it was just a thought.
If
Yeah.
I could try and do like but that could be my cardboard box. To be honest, I could.
The
Cast.
huge cat that is secretly a huge rat underneath.
I was like, yeah, why aren't you stripping off and just walking across as a rat? Like, if your plan is to walk across as a cat.
A giant cat, yeah, okay, fair enough.
It's a good suggestion, though.
Once again,
It's an
Taco Bell.
illusion. You can make an illusion any size as long as
What are
it's...
you hiding?
yeah.
So,
Well, no, you're right. I could make a cat-sized illusion cross the bridge, but I would still be on the.
But you would be on the other side, yeah.
and like, I have tried to pitch this to a GM in the past where I've used minor illusion to hide under a table and just illusion the underside of the table in front of me, so that if somebody had a quick glance, it wouldn't look like I was under there, right? However, moving with that and different points of view being available would make that super tricky. Not impossible, and by that I mean illusioning out Fleabite was the illusion.
Mm.
Yeah, not
Very good.
impossible, but just super tricky.
Are you underestimating my
No?
3?
I think you're misunderestimating him. That's a reference from 2003. Deal with it.
Dear. So +1 to minus my underestimating. Yeah, okay. Yeah, perfect. Try not to give myself an aneurysm with that maths.
Misunderestimated me, Ryan. Misunderestimated.
Right, so what is the active plan? I think Vanguard's going to do his thing first, but is he going to stay on the other side or not? What's the plan, Vanguard?
Well,
Well, I'd started saying that to people there, right, just before we went back into this sort of out of character chat. I was saying in character that, I can go over to the other side, blah blah blah. I can stay there and meet on the other side if you find it easier that way. Smuggling 2 people over than 3. It's that or swim, I suppose.
If Fleabite wants to go into the bag, I don't mind trying the run.
Perhaps then it's not here to run though. You might find a less visible area.
if you go cross as Clawbeast, then perhaps we would know if it is a good place or not from what you see. Yes.
That's true, and we can do the mental communication thing.
I love that Fleabag just stares at you like he has no idea what you're talking
Okay.
about.
It was more of a just stare as yes, that was implied. Like,
Yes.
there's
Okay.
nothing else I'd like to add to that.
Right. I'll do that then. That makes sense. I'll go over, and I'll communicate what I find. Now, bear with me while I mark off wild shape.
Vanger pulls out his character sheet, marks off a use.
Vanger just sort of drops down into cat form, just like sort of
Now,
collapses almost.
I'm
into
assuming
it.
Fleabag's going to activate his mind thing before this happens. Okay, good. So that's that 3 hours you got. It's all right. And remember that you can't speak as a cat. Back so you can hear him, but you can't reply. I think it's what we had agreed.
Let's go.
Well, surely he can respond in meows. It's just not.
I think we.
Uh,
I definitely think we'd established that he can hear you, but he can't respond.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm pretty sure we'd agreed on. But it's not like he can't shift back once he's jumped off the bridge and like got himself some
yeah,
cover.
exactly. I've got the ability to turn back again.
Mhm.
It's not like if I go back, I'm stuck.
Yeah. Right. So, shapeshift.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, what's that, Keldreth?
Sorry, I just a strange thought in my head.
Yeah,
that's
go for it.
out of character again. I just can't help thinking there'd be some sort of reaction between Fleabite the rat and the cat.
Even though they're aware of each other just every single time, just.
It was the first time. To be honest.
That is good.
Sorry.
That is good. Just every single time, just for like a 5 minutes. Yep, just them having a go at each other.
Staring each other down.
Like, Fleabag, we've told you a million times, it's Vanger. Right,
Yeah,
so
sorry.
are you going to try and like stealth across the really, really difficult all white stone? Because you could turn into like a light coloured cat, I suppose, right?
No, I'm gonna turn it into my standard cat and then just amble across.
Sure, yeah. Right, so you want to amble across, and then
I'll be faster as a cat than I am as Vanger, so I
Mhm.
might as well take the time.
and you want to like check out the gate, essentially.
Yeah.
So you get all the way across. We have a Fleabite going through his bag of holding to try and figure out what he can ditch to fit both him and Eltris in. And then, yeah, as you head in, you get up to the gate. It is
Gonna be
like
bad.
it is quite distinctly like there is like quite clearly a doorway, like a big kind of like marble archway, but like not even like an inch sunk into it is like another big like slab of what looks like marble.
Okay.
As if the door itself is made of like one big sheet of marble. Again, I say marble loosely, it's just like kind of pure white stone. Beyond that though, nobody around.
He meows like a cat that's just come in from cold night.
Yep.
A
Mhm,
nice
mhm.
guttural like. Brrr.
And then some time passes. Nope.
Okay. I sort of wander a few steps back and sort of look up at like the towers and that if we can get a
Mhm.
decent angle from here.
Yeah, can have a look. And I'll listen and various other things, yeah.
Yep.
And maybe perception roll.
Can I, in fact, before I do that, I'll be sniffing about as a cat.
Okay.
May I
Mhm.
roll?
Mm-hmm.
Sniff about as cat.
Yes, you can. You can use your keen senses to get advantage on that, yep. As cat.
How did I do that again?
It just means you roll with advantage. Should be at the top of the sheet.
Advantage, and it is wisdom perception. So, go.
Yeah. And what are you trying to smell for, or just anything that you can
Just the
smell?
presence, because I've met a Baru now. They
Mhm,
probably
mhm.
have a bit of a smell. Most things do. A lively, living, healthy city has a smell. It's literally just a like. Do I smell like I'm at the front door to a bustling city, or
No.
do I smell Baru? No, yeah,
And you
that's
do not
sort of what I'm
smell
getting
Baru.
for.
You don't smell Baru. and you don't smell like just the ambience of a city. No, the aroma, I guess, is of a city. Like it's creepily sterile, this close to the wall. Like obviously with you filtering out like the jungle around you, that is probably the most pungent thing you can smell.
Interesting.
Yes.
But yeah, sort of wandering back just a little bit to try and get a view of the top. I don't see anything at all in the towers or anything like that. Do you want a perception for that, or?
Yeah, give me a perception for that, for having a nosy up at the towers.
I'd be standard cat roll for that, so it's not a good roll, right?
Yep, but you don't spot anything either. Like they definitely look like they should have people keeping lookout, right? They look like they've definitely been designed to keep lookout, but they're too high up, right, for you to notice.
He makes a small meow again, displeasure. And before he goes to make the jumps down, he's going to try the final step in the cat strategy. He's just going to lean his forepaws in the door.
Okay. Yep.
Scratch it a little bit. Meow again.
Okay, yep. So like you like press up against the like marble slab, and yeah, it feels like I wouldn't say cold, but it definitely doesn't seem to be like retaining any heat of any kind, right? So it's quite a cool stone that you're touching. Very, very smooth. Do you see you scratch it?
Yeah, he scratches at it.
Yeah, like doesn't leave any marks. Like you actually like you're finding it difficult to get any like friction on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then he'll just sort of look at it for a second, and then he will make his way down into the jungle below.
Okay. Are you going off the left side of the bridge, since that's where your companions are likely to travel over?
Was the left side they were on? Then yes, yeah, absolutely.
So like this area is like where you had searched. So I'm assuming they're somewhere near this area.
What would you like me to roll?
Give me an acrobatics. And is the cat able to do anything with acrobatics?
Cat doesn't have acrobatics, no.
Let's have a look what the cat's got before we go any further.
Perception, stealth.
Yeah.
Passive perception 13 plus 3 perception plus 4 stealth.
Yeah, let's have a look. And there's no fancy abilities. It does have a climb though, so
it does have climb speed, yes.
Yeah. Right, so
it's faster climbing than I am walking, right?
Yeah, it is. So if you're wanting to like essentially jump off the side and then make it into a tree and land and not take any damage, let's say it's an acrobatics check, and we'll see how it goes.
Okay. So you want me just rolling dex?
It would be dex, yeah. Yep.
You know what? I'm gonna cash in my advantage here.
Okay, yeah.
By Roshan.
Untick your dragon, and then
it is untick it.
And then apply.
Wow. Doesn't matter. It's 11. It's 11. I'm getting 11.
Yeah. 1,111. Wow. Yeah. Like, luckily for a cat doing this, it's not particularly difficult. It's maybe not graceful though, which is probably why you're pleased nobody else is around to notice. Like how, you know, like when a cat missed like judges a jump, but it just makes it with sheer like perseverance, I suppose. I know it was terrible. So
it was. Okay.
But like, you know, that kind of, you know, hanging in there poster is maybe what Vanger is for a second or two until he like can get himself on top of it to gain purchase upon the branch in a more secure fashion.
Cat noises.
Oh, meow,
okay.
That's painful. Yeah, and then you can like descend down the tree and hit the jungle floor again. Yeah, and then that's where we go to break. And the cat successfully navigates jumping off the bridge. So we shall return in 10 minutes I'll see folks then. Bye. Okay, we should be back. Audio tests stand by. And welcome back to the Invasion Session 72, Part 2. I am Ryan, the GM. It is the 10th of November 2021. Here are the players.
Good evening, my name is Alexander, and tonight I will be playing Fleabite the Skaven. Still pretty terrible at everything. And thank you for just dragging that out just enough that I was able to finish the biscuit in my mouth.
You're welcome. Clearly planned.
Yeah, audio sounds good.
Also, do we really want this to be the Dark Tower Keldrath? That could go horribly freak. A lot more references as well I need to make if that's the case. Oofed.
That's the Stephen King thing, right?
Yeah.
I've never read it.
Evening, everybody. I'm Keldrath, and tonight I'm Chris, and I'm going to be playing Keldrath, a Dragonborn monk. I'm going.
Hey, that's a rite of passage. That's a rite of passage. Everybody does that. Yep.
Shouldn't go out on a school night.
Oh dear, that's good.
And still a good evening from me. I am Colin, and I will be playing Vanger, the Dwarven Cleric.
Hey. So, while Vanger is at the other side as Cat Vanger, having hopped down off the tree, Fleabite, what we chucking out the bag of holding?
I mean, how necessary is
Eltris, vital, him being a player character.
compared with two planks of wood?
I mean, currently their acting level's the same, but that's only because he's not here.
Well, I guess I can lose the 2 3-foot long planks of wood.
Okay.
If he was here, the wood would look better.
Why don't you run as well? Why don't you run as past just abridges the content you have in the bag?
Okay. Luckily, a good portion of it is still, jacketed, so I can skip that.
Okay. So you have a robe of many things, I guess, is one of them.
And so I have a sack in the bag with most of the stuff in it. From the various times where we had to turf stuff out.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got 30 feet of silver chain, bat bits that are probably decayed beyond.
Anything biological is not so there anymore.
Giant's hand.
We've got big bat bits times 2. Small silver mirror, feathered bracers. Oh, nice, that was wearing those. Iron tiara, leather hunter's cap, gold cloth talisman, pewter mask, potion of greater healing, potion of cold resistance, feather-bound book, silk gloves threaded with gold, a soup bowl, a cushion, a wet blanket, 3 bird eggs, the monastery door, another healing potion, cold weather gear, 2 planks of former cart 3 feet long each, box of crystals from cart, and parts of rowboat.
Yeah, so I think to safely accommodate, is there more?
6-pound giant hand.
Okay, so
Yeah, and that's it.
yeah, so to accommodate you and Eltris, I would just say it's pretty much the bits of the rowboat and the other bits of wood, I think would be enough, just to clear that out, and you can probably fit both you in.
I'm guessing that also includes the monastery door.
Yes, it does.
That's a fairly weighty chunk that would displace. Okay.
I would hide that quite well if I were.
Well, obviously I'm coming back for it, so can't let anyone steal it in the meantime.
Yeah.
I love the idea that you just sail across on the broken monastery door.
Again, it's like using Eltris as like the chariot.
I was gonna say you and Eltris on the monastery door, and then have a Keldrath tie a rope between the door and him.
Yes,
Have him
silver
run across.
chain.
Yeah. Most awkward way to
Horsey
get
thing
across.
keeps
Yeah.
coming back every time I'm with him, doesn't it?
Yep. Now you're truly a seahorse for him.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, if the horseshoe fits.
That's fair. Yeah. So, what is your plans on that side of the banking then, while Vanger's off scouting?
I guess dig a hole.
Okay, so do you want to do this as like a hand check, right? I think this
Yeah.
feels like a sleight of hand check to like hide all this stuff somewhere. You can do it as a stealth or sleight of hand, but I think this is sleight of hand.
I think that sounds good because I don't get to roll sleight of hand.
Exactly why I suggested it. It doesn't come up often. Well, hey! Yeah, so do you want to make a note that you have hid that stuff that well? Just in case you do decide to ever come back for it.
I do have a list of stuff that I've given away, so I'll put it with it.
Of course. Oh dear.
He is a male. Will be able to find it whenever he's come back looking for it.
It's the ironic thing here is that Fleabite would probably be the type of person who actually makes the only list he's ever made is the stuff he's given away. His debt list. So, Keldrath, while he's chucking chunks of wood out of his bag of holding and then just burying them, what are you up to?
I'm considering whether or not looking. Well, we know Vanger made it across without triggering any alarms. Should I be trying to consider doing a stealth check while we're running across to see if I can do this as stealthily as possible?
I think
Just in case
it
anybody
would
is
be
watching.
very difficult to run across a body of water exposed.
Sneakily.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Like, I'm trying to work...
This
like,
is why I'm asking.
it's okay, I'm wrapping my brain around what level of, like, obfuscation you'd have, and I don't think there's much. Unless someone was able to cast, like, fog cloud enough to cover the entire area, I don't think you're going to be able to do it stealthily, but you can definitely, like, once you get to the other side, obviously the faster you do it, the less likely you are to get spotted. That's ultimately it, right? And we've established you can move like 90 feet per 6 seconds. If you wanted to spend some key points to get across faster, let me know how much you want to spend. It would be like essentially 1 point per turn to add another 45 feet to that distance that you can cover for you to go like flat out.
How much wood could he carry while doing it?
You've buried it. It's gone.
Oh dear.
I don't even need to use them as water skis or anything. I'm just running.
It's so good. Again, it's nice when you actually get to use this stuff though in a campaign, isn't it? Actually having the ability to like run across bodies of water. So yeah.
Right. Initially, then I am going to spend 2 key points so I can use this twice.
Yeah, so like the first 2 turns, yeah. So
the first 2 turns. So
okay, so the total
I'll
distance
drop
that
them
you
low.
can cover in 12 seconds is how much again? So it's
135.
That'll be times 2, right?
If I'm getting 2
Yeah.
dashes. Yeah.
Uh,
So 270.
it's kind of crazy. So yeah, like 270 feet you can cover in 12 seconds is kind of disgusting. But yeah, so yeah. So yep, mark yourself down 2 key points. We'll keep that packed. Right, Fleabite. Is you got anything else you want to do before you climb in the bag with Theltris? And are you waiting on a signal from Vanger? Is Vanger going to shift back and give you the all clear to come across?
That's what I thought we were doing.
Well, I was sort of waiting to determine whether I shift back based on what happens when we sort of cut to me on the other side. Because I didn't want to just say immediately, I shift back when potentially being a cat for a little bit could be advantageous.
It's okay. So then my question is there anything else you want to do before you are climbing in the bag on that side? You've buried the wood, got enough space in the bag for the 2 people that need to be in it. We've got our monk prepared to run across the water. We're pretty much good to go as soon as Vanger gives you the all clear. Anything else you want to have done before, during, or after this? The answer can
The
be
Hawk's
no.
still out.
Yep.
I can't think of anything else, so no.
Yep. And Fleabite, you happy?
Yeah, I think we're good to go.
Like the way you always sound like you're convinced when you say that. Like, yeah.
It's usually mid-reading through something.
So yeah, you happy? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so Vanger. You descend the
Aw.
tree.
Yes.
You're a cat. Let's assume you took some time to do all this and let's say it was like a 20 minutes to get to the investigative part. You waited like around, so maybe all in you've spent like 20 minutes to investigate the gate and stuff. Jump down, so you've probably still got like 35 to 40 minutes of cat left in the initial first hour.
Okay, that's
So,
pretty
yeah.
good.
Yeah, like
I will do some more sniffing about to test the waters in case there are any predatory animals or what have you about. that
so you want to
might
like head to the
decide to
banking,
peek at.
or
Yeah, yeah. I'll be when I say test the waters, I don't mean literally.
yeah, but I just mean because I assume you'll be at like the wall where the jungle meets the wall. Like, I
yes,
assume
but
you're
I will be sort of investigating that kind of area.
2 seconds. Send
Just in
this back
case
to
there
that
is
map.
like an underway or anything.
Test what that is. Yes. So like essentially like you're here. So you can obviously head back to the waterfront, or you can stay there and do
No, I want to stay closer to the wall. I want to sort of investigate that area. Partly just in case, like, as obvious as it seems, wouldn't be a bad place to hide a second entrance under the main entrance.
Very very true. Yeah.
So I'm gonna have a little look around in there, and yeah, just sort of keep my eyes open for predators, and then sort of make my way a little bit away from the gate before I shift back.
Okay. As
Gonna give you a
I
little.
was gonna say,
Sorry?
as when you were shifted as a, it's not polymorph shifting, it is wild shape shifting. Do you keep your mental stats for this, or is it fully on? You take their stats on.
I use their stats.
Use their stats fully. Yeah. You sure you don't keep your own mental stats for the wild shape?
Fairly sure. Let me just check.
Mhm.
I just know there's a difference between the two for a reason. I'm pretty sure polymorph's worse than wild shape. It just means that if you were rolling, let's see, you definitely need to space this out.
I know. So we're looking for game statistics are replaced by the stats, but you retain your alignment, personality, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma scores.
Okay, so if you're going to investigate, you get to use your obviously.
So I can roll investigate. Yeah.
Polymorph specifies that the target's game statistics, including mental ability scores, are
Mhm.
replaced by the chosen piece.
Yeah, I knew that was the worst one. Something, by the way, that I don't know if I necessarily want to be really vocal about, but I learned this and I think it's really awesome. So according to Sage Advice's interpretation, which is generally the go-to to get a final word on something when Jeremy Crawford's failed us, is if you polymorph something and then power word kill it, it dies. End of line. Doesn't shift back. It's interesting, isn't it? Because dying is dying. And power word kill kills you. So yeah. So if you polymorph something like, I don't know, an ancient dragon that somehow didn't have the ability to stop being polymorphed, and you polymorph that into a cow and then cast power word kill, you would just
I was about to
kill
say,
it.
is this what your Friday group did?
No.
Yeah,
at all.
I honestly, I kind of hate that.
Power word kill is a 9th level spell though, so you can kind of see why it's the only thing that kind of gets away with that shit.
Oh yeah, sure, but it's a 9th level spell because it's insanely powerful as is.
Yeah, but yeah, that's apparently legit. I was like, huh, that's an interesting thing to have learned recently. Am I a particular fan of it? I'm still
Depends
in.
how quickly you want to kill a dragon.
It depends if I'm a player or a GM, I think, is the answer to that question. Yeah.
Does power word kill put you to 0 hit points, or is it just it kills?
No, it kills you, which is why it skips the part that Polymorph cares about.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as I said, it was a lot of people on the Sage Advice that agree that you just die. Because, yeah. Intense, right? So, interesting, weird overlap that I feel you'd think more people would know about that, right? But I guess that shows you how many people get access to 9th level magic.
Yeah, and also I suppose is it all just that people don't know about it, or is it people like me who someone has said, "Oh, do you know it works like this?" and then you've just went, "Oh fuck, no, it doesn't."
Like, probably most people in a game probably wouldn't allow that, right? I think most GMs that don't want their bad guy to be turned to count and just power word killed.
And not even just GMs, because I think players would be like, "Oh, if we can do that to his boss, his big scary boss, he can do that to us."
Oh
And
yeah.
I want that to happen. And although most GMs, if they're any good, aren't looking for ways to cheaply kill your characters, and
No.
if they are, they don't need to do it within
Yeah.
the rules.
Yep.
Even so, players are going to feel like, oh, that's something that could be used against me. If I can use that, it can be used against me.
It's
I
came
don't
up
like
a lot in the games I run, and I'm quite open with you guys as my players about it, is if we interpret a rule one way, it does work that way for me and you. And if you are happy with that, I'm happy with that interpretation generally. So yeah, I think that's an important distinction to always make, because I do recall a concentration, and if you knew somebody was concentrating or not, because I remember it was the beach fight long ago, and it was like, how does he know I'm not concentrating? It's like, because you know who's concentrating on spells. That's how he knows who's concentrating on spells. And it was like, if you don't want to know, we can switch to that mode if you wish, and everyone was like, no, that's fine, we're okay with that. And Vanguard, you were the target in that example.
I was, yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is with that, though, as a GM, if you know that characters have those capabilities, and you know you've got those capabilities, you should be able to build something into it that
100%.
negates that.
Like, at no point can somebody not attempt to counterspell that shit if they have the spell, or just...
Yeah, exactly.
There's also things like legendary resistances that high-level monsters get, which means they can just pass saves to, like, avoid being polymorphed, but if you've got enough spell slots, you can outdo that to somebody. I just thought it was an interesting ruling. It's just an interesting ruling for the game drama. Not so much mechanics, but game drama, it kind of just neuters it. Because like the limit on Power Word Kill is 100 HP. That's a 9th level spell. So I kind of feel like it wasn't meant to be coupled with something like Polymorph to just insta-gib anything, like a Tarask. Right? Yeah. Like the funny thing is letting Polymorph get a Tarask to be a cow for like so many turns is funny. And then it's still a Tarask is the problem you still have to deal with once the cow runs out. But the able to just then go Power Word Kill feels anticlimactic, doesn't it?
Could you fit? You probably fit a cow in a bag of holding, right?
It would be awkward, but probably, yeah.
There's my solution to that.
No, because suffocating it would zero it out, and then it would turn into a Tarask and burst the bag.
Exactly.
But Power Word Kill would just kill it. There's no zeroing it out. That's the difference. So yeah, it's awkward. But anyway, it was just something I'd read recently that I thought was very odd. Very odd.
So, that's the weird thing though, right? Because I've been rolling with the cat's metal stats when I've done these rules. Although my stats are the same, I don't get advantage on perception for smell. So am I not supposed to get that?
So, have a look at it. It does actually cover this. So, you retain the benefits of any feature from your class, race, blah blah blah, physical label. However, where is it? You can't use your special senses, right? Unless your new form also has them. But you do get to use, where is it? Is it above that then? It says that you get their abilities. I don't think it says that because the assumption is
creature. In addition to gaining those as a creature, retain all your skills and saving throw proficiencies. In addition to gaining those creature.
Yeah. So if you're sniffing
as
the cat,
proficiency is doing the same bonus. You use it. Yeah.
So you
basically
your mods.
It's better, I can use it.
Like your mental mods plus its like stat sheet essentially, and it generally is quite generous that it lets you pick the better of the two.
Bizarre. So I'll do an investigato.
Nicely done. I liked the.
I liked it. Right?
It's alright.
Yeah, it's alright. It's not the best roll though.
But yeah, like I think you walk up to the wall, same idea again, right? Like where the area at the wall is, it goes straight down into like the jungle floor. Maybe if you dig a little bit, the wall keeps going, right? But obviously you're a cat, you're not really designed to dig too well.
Yeah.
But yeah, like ultimately you're learning that there definitely isn't a secret entrance under the main entrance, it seems. I say main entrance, only entrance, right? That you have discovered. There is no other entrance.
Honestly, I know it was a long shot.
It's worth doing.
My thinking was like, what if the guards have a way that they can get in and out to, allow for strategic movement or blah, blah, blah here. I didn't think it was likely, though. But yeah, that's cool.
The thing that you notice, though, obviously from above, is because the door itself seems like one big slab of marble, like if it was flush, would you be able to tell? Right? That's the other thing to keep in mind. Whereas it's the fact that there is quite clearly the outline of a door. at the main entrance, as
Yeah.
if this is clearly the way in. But no, that's at least good to rule out.
So I would like to just have a little bit of a sniff around for anything that going on outside down in the jungle. And then I'm gonna sort of move a little bit away into D cat form.
Yeah, and anything in particular you're looking for? You're sniffing around.
Anything large enough to be of concern, basically. Like, am I alone in this jungle in terms of large
So you mean like kind of
creatures?
like predators and stuff? Okay, right.
Yeah, the Yacha.
It's weird 'cause I would pronounce it like the Utah, which is interesting. Yeah.
I don't know. Like, they used to have a different name as well. That's annoying.
Yeah, like I also couldn't tell you how it's meant to be pronounced.
So my wisdom mod is better. So did I mix and match that? Do I use my wisdom with advantage?
You can roll if it's perception. You can roll perception with
perceptions, it's the
advantage
same,
if
yeah,
it's the
it doesn't
smell.
matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I keep forgetting that perception is the same, even though wisdom isn't. It's for smell, and it's oh my god.
Yeah.
Right, I'm gonna roll another one as a test.
Okay. Oh.
Okay, it is actually different.
So
though.
close.
What the fuck?
Just a random initiative as well. So are you fighting yourself now? Is it a cat?
I did not.
Have you saw
press
your
initiative.
reflection? You've went to the water. You've saw your reflection. You've
Well,
obviously-
cats get confused
mhm.
sometimes. Most of them can pass the test, but
yeah, like there were clearly other things living in this jungle, but nothing seems like an immediate predatorial threat to you currently. But
Okay.
like even like on your wander around for the 4 days you've spent in this like caldera, I suppose if it's a better term, like you probably do realize that you probably could be attacked by something like maybe even as crazy as a tiger here. Like there is enough wildlife to support something as crazy as that. So yeah. But yeah, so you spend some time like searching around. Again, seems the weird thing is you seem reasonably alone despite the fact that there's a city here.
yeah, it's more than reasonably. I'm not actually hearing.
Mm-hmm. And that is another thing, there is still like no new smells or sounds this close.
So yeah, I am going to shift back.
Okay. Yep.
To reality. Oops. There
Mhm.
goes cat. There goes cat.
Oops, there goes cat. As opposed to gravity, yeah. Rightio, so you're back. Do you report anything across to Team Jetski?
I do. And what I report to them is
Wayne Jetski. No.
Wayne Gretzky. It's awfully quiet over here. I've had a little look around, and the door seems unmanned. I don't really hear or smell anything. I've dropped down to the forest level, but truth be told, not sure it would matter. The door's a slab. I don't think there's any getting in, and I don't think there's anyone there to invite us. But I don't think that means. I think that means there's no one else to stop us there either. I just don't. It's very strange. Could they all have been wiped out in the time that he was away? Or maybe they'd already been wiped out and he just didn't know or was being manipulated into not being able to say it.
It has been 6
Whatever the
days since
case-
you've seen him, essentially.
Yeah. Whatever the case, there's something deeply weird here. So there might be no one there, but take care just in case. If you're coming across this way, be subtle as you can. There's something amiss.
I love the phrase "be as subtle as you can." And you've got like the almost like Olympian style flexing before a race or something from Keldrath every day, like your elf barbarian and your rat climbing the bag.
Right, I'm sorry, I need to say this. When I went down the stairs, the little break we had, I made myself a coffee.
Yep.
I had a bar of chocolate, standard stuff, and my cat's sort of being a constant pain in the ass while I do it. He's been really annoying lately. I don't know, something's bothering him, but He's fine, but he's agitated.
Okay.
And he decides he wants out, but then he doesn't go out, or he decides he wants to sit with the door open. But of course,
Right.
there's tons of other animals in the area. We don't like leaving it, not just cats, but foxes. So I turn around because I can tell he wants me to go to the door, and I'm about to, and I watch him go up, and he's very lazy with doors. He can get them, but he rarely even tries. And I watch him pathetically try and hook like he would a partially open door, just pathetically swipe at a completely closed door, and he just stops for a second and looks at his paw. He's like, "Oh, this hasn't worked."
Why have you betrayed me, Paul? Yeah.
It was wonderful. Cats are great.
Oh dear. Yeah, that's good.
They're not especially bright animals, to be honest, but I love them.
Right. So, any response from Fleabite from the psychic message?
Probably just say. Yes, right. We'll head over through. Be ready to meet us on other side, yes.
I'll keep an eye out.
And then I guess Fleabite will say to Keldrath, "Beard thing, not see any of mammoth things. We should cross quickly, but good chance of not be seen, yes."
I can try, but it's a big open space. I'll try and be as quick as I can. Oh, and I promise to open the bag at the other side.
Galtris wipes a bit of sweat off his forehead at that and then just climbs in anyway, because, yep.
He doesn't have a choice.
I think Fleabite takes out like a potion of healing and just holds it like close to his chest and then goes in.
Okay, yeah. I also was laughing at when you were recounting what you had in your bag. Like, oh yeah, remember that entire frost area when none of you used your frost potions? Like, yeah, that was fun.
We didn't need them, turns out.
I could have been doing with one.
Fine.
Any protection against cold while I was fighting would have been good.
Yep. Oh
I
dear.
didn't cheat. Think about that.
Didn't even know you had them.
Oh dear. So yeah,
Do you know what?
Was it Abtag that gave you them? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Hey, we live and learn, right? And there's always the way down.
So, never mind.
Ties bag tighter. Yeah. Right. So we'll start the timer here then. Right, Fleabite. 9 minutes from now. Yeah. Okay. And you want to spend the 2 key points to get across as quickly as you can.
Yep, already marked down.
Okay. Do you want to give me a athletics or acrobatics? I'm not really too fussed which. It's kind of more athleticsy is what I'm kind of going for here, but I'm not fussed if you want to try and justify acrobatics as well.
I think the gentleman would probably appreciate it more if I went with acrobatics.
Okay. Sure. Go for it.
I'm just checking. I've got advantage on, so I'm going to turn that off.
Hey! Nicely done. So yeah, you zoom across the water. And yeah, you make it to the other side. It takes obviously some time, but you've managed to mitigate how much time that's going to take purely based on how fast you can actually move. Again, don't really want to quantify how big the distance is. That just gets into
Some.
Yeah, it's significant enough. The distance across, and then yeah, get to the other side. I think maybe I'm happy to say at its like smallest points, it's 500 feet, because then people with Dimension Door can have fun crossing just with that. I suppose I'm willing to say that much maybe. And then other places are wider, so shrug. But besides that, yeah, you get across fine. As I said, I guess based on that logic, it takes about 30 seconds for you to get across, which is not half bad at all. Maybe just a tiny bit longer than that, and then yeah, get to their side, and then I assume Vanguard, you spot them running across the open water, and you navigate towards where they're going to beachhead. So these are reassembled at the other side.
We
Leave
have
them in the bag for 9 minutes.
Wow. Right up to them having to hold their breath.
No, I will open the bag straight away once we get to the other side and let our two friends out.
I mean, come on, 5 minutes of bag air, and then
Yeah,
it's
I know.
suffocation for 4.
Is there any air in the empty bottles?
Probably not enough.
Oh, and I gave them away, that's fine.
Yeah. You have them tab tag, did you not, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like just to try and mitigate cost. So yeah, so he's decant Eltris and Fleabite out of the bag of holding. Yeah, so I guess we'll say that these are like probably like here now.
Well,
Fleabite just like takes the bag of holding back.
But you gave it to me.
Like, there's microns between Fleabite's eyelids. He's narrowing his eyes so much.
I will hand it back over. Only joking, my friend. Only joking.
so same again on this side, and he sort of points along the wall.
Don't think we have much choice. Yes.
Wanna go
yes.
clockwise
Should
this
take a little
time?
less time at least. Sorry,
Wanna go clockwise this time?
spice it up a little. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's up to you.
Let's
You,
do-
you can go anti-clockwise if you want, but these are just, you know, on that other side of the bridge, that's all. You can go under it and go around if you want, but...
It makes well go close. That makes sense.
Okay.
Do we want to sort of take it slow again? I'm assuming it'll take slightly less time.
It will be less time, yeah, it's a lot less distance.
Did Vanguard see like sentries?
No, he did not. But he
So-
did roll like a 10, was it, or something? So it depends how much you want to meta that roll.
I'm just saying, you know.
Well, sorry, it was a 6 for his perception on that. That's what he rolled, to see if there were sentries on the towers, that is. It was specifically when he was looking at those towers.
To be fair, I was a cat, and if you think looking up from a cat's
Mhm.
perspective, you're probably not going to see shit.
I mean,
Honestly,
that's not
like,
Fleabite's perspective.
honestly,
Or
it-
mine.
I was going to say, it's... See, because if you think of that door being big enough to fit in, like, properly, like, you know, 2 carts side by side. Because this road's wide enough to fit 2 carts side by side on, and then the idea of how high that up would be, like, yeah, it would be difficult for any of you to see in, regardless.
And carts for Baru.
Yes. But also, actually, just in terms of scale, it's normal carts for you to gauge for reference, because you don't know what a Baru cart looks like. So ultimately, I stand by my initial statement.
Using all the skills that we have just used for crossing the water. How high is the wall?
The wall is probably, I don't know, based on that logic that I just said, maybe 50 feet, maybe more, 60 feet.
So basically, I can climb that. I can walk that.
I don't think the problem was whether or not we can get over it.
It's whether or not we'll get seen at the other side. Yes.
But would a cat?
I mean, if it's completely smooth, it might be a struggle for a cat to climb.
Now, think back to what I described when you leaned on the door.
Yeah, it was smooth.
You actually said like there was like no friction. Yeah.
I don't have any limitations on that.
Yeah, you don't. You're not the cat boy. I mean,
Yeah,
I
but as a
suppose
cat, you can go in the
I
bag.
could, yeah, you wouldn't even need to. I could just go on your back. And you
Yeah.
just drop me over the side. But then people would look and probably notice a cat in the wall.
I like the idea that you just
Putting their
like
hands
you're
to
running an
make things
arc
go up.
halfway up and halfway down, and you just toss the cat over at the apex of the run up the wall.
I mean, if we don't find anything else, I'm not against that plan.
dear.
Find a secluded spot in the middle
Because
of the night, and we go
those
over.
walls are quite thick. They've got room for guards on top. It's not like he's just going to drop me over the other side.
Or I could just cast Spider Climb on you.
Or you could do that.
So we have ways of getting in, but we're not going to try that because it's too visible at the present time. Cool.
It should definitely be like last.
Yeah, that's the last resort. Perfect.
I like it though. It's a fun plan. Right. So, what is the current plan? Is it to just do a circumference of the place and then walk the perimeter?
Yep.
Can I go silly again before we move on?
Of course you can. Yeah. Why the hell not?
You think Fleabite would be asking me to go back and get that wood for him? Now that Eltress is out the sack.
But that would involve giving you back the bag.
Yeah, exactly. And twice.
And once we're back in the end, another side and coming back, we're going to have to make repeat journeys to get it again. And then what about the foxes?
It's just not enough chicken feed.
And what would the fox say? Uh-huh.
That's my fox noise. I hope you enjoyed it.
I really didn't. My ears didn't, at least
No,
through the
that
headset, but
didn't.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
I've already got tinnitus from last night, so yeah, that wasn't good.
So yeah, what's the plan now?
Fleabite leads on.
Cool. Everybody on board?
Sure.
Are you going to help him, Vanger, or are you going to do something else while we're wandering around?
I think I want to kind of play up the idea that Vanger's maybe getting a little preoccupied as we're closer and closer. So maybe it shouldn't be Vanger providing the assistance in this occasion.
I'll step in.
I think he's probably muttering a bit, like, it's got to be sort of side. What's that? We're so close. There's got to be some sign.
Okay, so we'll do this, we'll maybe do this in, like, how to judge this. Let's say it's maybe 2 days all the way around doing this, right? I think that's reasonable with the
Nice.
investigate thing. So, you end up at the other side. Did I ask me a question? I'll give you one question for this one, since it's not that great a roll.
For me, it's got to be, is there any tunnels that we notice? Any sewers, anything like that are coming out the side in that first section? That would be my
I
suggestion.
think that might be someone else's question too.
And Fleabite? What's your... Because I'll let you all decide what the question is, and then I'll let you ask me. So I'll let you have
I'm
this.
happy for that to be the question. I suspect we won't get an answer that we want for that, but I'm happy for that to be the question. I would be more concerned with sort of what we are... I guess more what the... like, are we seeing people up top, or are we seeing or hearing anything from within?
Okay, so what do you want to hit me with? Where did you focus on? Secret passages on the walls and sewer bits, or do you want to have the... Are we picking up anything from the other side of the wall?
I think if we go for the signs over the other side of the wall, that we're just going to have to search this area again.
Okay.
Okay, like, or would Keldrath be able to hawk see and be able to see, like, signs of within better?
You get like 100 feet with a hawk, so clear the wall.
What if we throw him?
So
I just mean his ability to channel into the hawk is 100 feet.
Well,
Okay, well, if we try like the secret entrances first, then.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, doesn't seem to be any sewer outlets from the wall at all. Right? And Fleabite, you know from your background that every city probably needs one.
Hmm.
Otherwise, what are they doing with their sewage? Right?
Eating it.
mud, glorious mud.
Or they're just really big in fertilizer, but where would they be growing stuff, you know? Underground. Mushroom caves, I see.
And to be fair, this is volcanic, it'll be pretty fertile anyway.
Double first.
So, any thoughts on that, Fleabite?
Yeah, I guess we're technically not in the city.
No.
We could be moving twice.
No, you're not in the city. No. And arguably you know fuck all about bars. If only you'd listened to all of those stories Lauda wanted to tell you that time. Instead of just using him as a mount.
I will just put that in. Just
Yeah, it's what I was using my
Mhm.
comment to reference there. His background's Urchin. Because of course it is.
so yeah, no, that is good to know.
Yep. But it does mean that there should be.
Mhm.
So where is it? Yeah. And we can say that was day one that you did that, so I'm just going to assume that you're being fed with good berries and all the usual stuff.
We're always being fed with gooseberries now.
Do you want to do day two then? And we'll do the next half.
Would we be better off with doing a hawk?
It's up to you. You just need to tell me.
Dude. Oh.
So you would
I'm
be
ready for
you would be like
the
so
hawks.
you'd have covered, these are like here.
Yeah, I would like a little bit of info of what's going on inside. So I think if that means we wait and let the hawk do it first.
That sounds fair.
Okay, so if you want to channel into the hawk and have a look,
First.
and you want to have it go up above the wall, are you having it go across the wall, or are you always keeping it on the outside?
Oh, I'm going to keep on the outside just now. After what struck it the last time, it will be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, very little
Initially,
you can
anyway.
really see from where the hawk is. Obviously, it goes above the jungle foliage around the city. You go above the wall. Doesn't seem to be anybody on the walls. You can tell that much. Doesn't seem to be anybody on the walls. It does look like it could easily comfortably house. Like the walls, are as thick as the bridges, right? If not thicker. So, again, you could run 2 carts very comfortably around the walls. On
So
the
it's
top side.
definitely an area that's built for war. Then
This
this
yeah.
is a defensible place.
Yeah, it is pretty damn defensible. The very fact that you haven't found sewage grates and stuff like that, or water outlets and stuff, is strange. Since most cities that is the weak points of them, and this doesn't seem to have them. So yeah, and yeah, you see very little other than just what looks like the city inside. You don't spot much in the way of movement inside. Definitely not with a 12 at least anyway. And it is arguable what time of day it is, because obviously the lighting levels will change because it does get dark up here. Yeah, but there's very little I can tell you on a 12, unfortunately. You can definitely ask me a question if you want me to say I can or can't answer based on a 12, but beyond that, that's what you got.
Keep on keeping on. Do better on the
Yep.
one.
Yep, sure. Yeah, sure, you betcha.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Was Vanger up to anything during that time period?
Muttering.
Okay.
Also, probably trying to help out a bit, but I definitely think he's got to that point where he's getting a little, not so much frustrated, partially frustrated, but maybe a little alarm is starting to set in at the fact that they've come this far, and to him, it almost feels like he should just know what to do,
Mm-hmm.
and he doesn't. And there's a frustration and there's a worry.
Okay, yeah.
And I think
makes sense.
he is sort of beseeching his god for guidance. Shall I roll beseech? No.
No, but do you have the cantrip guidance? Because you could always cast that on the people making rolls.
I literally do have the cantrip guidance, and that would be thematically fitting for what I'm doing.
Yeah, so
We'll do that next time.
Yeah, so for day 2, on the other half of the city, why don't we have it where Fleabite's rolling, Keldrath's helping, and we have Vanguard casting guidance, beseeching his god.
Just tell me when to hit that button, boys.
Yeah, feel free to do that. Yeah, go for it, Keldrath.
Ask a little question from Keldrath's perspective.
Could ask a big question if you want.
Yeah, no, it's just, would I be drawn to the egg in any way?
No.
Would there be anything? No, that's okay.
No. But like it is,
we'll
like,
leave it as that.
it's good to run, like to rule out as well. Like, is there any, like, is my dragon senses tingling or something like that? No, that's fine to ask. But there isn't. As I said, this thing about this place is this would be a great place to meditate for you because it's so still. Besides the jungle life around you, it's probably reminiscent to like the abandoned monastery you were in, right?
Yep.
Roll the d4.
Now, Fleabite, you also want to use your d8. So if we got a 16, that's a reasonable save from a 6, isn't it?
It's not bad.
Right, so on this day, something might dawn on Fleabite. If you
One of the sons?
no, that's a standard. They dawn at the same time, obviously. Thus neutrering the fact that there's 2. But yeah, the survey, as it were, that you are kind of performing of this place reveals much the same. Like, the wall doesn't seem to have any like sewer grates or anything like that, or any imperfections at all. Like, you'd imagine with the amount of wildlife that's here, like there might even be like animal scorings and such, like something that just implies something bumped against it at some point. But there's nothing like that. Which leads Fleabite to his second level of, okay, so if the walls aren't there, then I guess it's somewhere lower. Right? How many cities run off into rivers? Probably a few. So maybe you need to check under the water at this side. Make sense, Fleabite?
So about that seahorse.
So that's what I'm leaving Fleabite with when he gets to 16 on that side of the river. And you're welcome to ask me a question if you want as well.
River?
Tam.
Damn, I thought if I made it like an upward inflection.
Oh no, damn was funny enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll make that joke for you, don't worry.
So, how about we do that in character with words that would be appropriate for our characters to say?
Sure, I'm a fan of
That's
that.
my plan. And I think what I will add to the conversation would be probably not anything super useful. Something like, don't understand, we're practically here, and Nothing.
I think Fleabite's probably just been like kind of thinking and doing his investigation. Then it is that just like sudden realization. He like looks at the water, looks back at the wall, looks at the water, looks at the wall.
Hmm.
Probably goes a bit closer to the
And, like,
shoreline.
Even to add into like the description, like when you got the raised up view of the city and you asked about aqueducts, like that's something else that might lead into like, you know, Fleabite's level of thinking, and you can quite clearly see like the positioning of those like roads, as it were. Just because obviously if you're looking at this one, you might not be able to see this from outside the wall, but you can see the double towers that highlight each one of them. So you could tell where these were. And if Fleabite believed these were water channels, then it's reasonable to assume that if that's the case, maybe that's where you'd want to, you know, focus on.
Then
Or not.
if you go to the water and taste it.
Sure. Do you want to roll perception?
Excellent.
Okay. Do you want me to even say anything at this point, or are you good?
I mean,
Poisoned.
yeah. Do I have to now do a con save or something?
No, I don't think so. I think it's just like everybody's opinion of Fleabite and water. I think maybe, yeah. I think the problem is this water does taste nice. That's probably the problem. What that means to Fleabite is anyone's guess.
Then you probably see Fleabite like dry heave.
Okay.
Okay.
And like splutter and take a few like steps back from the water for a bit.
Doing all right there. Need a hand?
You mind, you've all been drinking this water like the last 2 days minimum. Like,
Can Fleabite try and like Heimlich with Mage Hand?
sure.
It's like clear any of the water.
Roll medicine.
All the rules are going against
So I guess
us now.
you're just hitting yourself with Mage Hand, I guess.
Stop hitting yourself. Stop hitting
I mean,
yourself.
to be fair, Fleabite's probably witnessed the Heimlich being done maybe once in his life, maybe twice, and then obviously is
I
just
feel
because
like
of
it has happened in this game.
and just tackle yourself. Probably in that bar in Runestad, probably,
Yeah.
if anywhere. The Fleabite was high under the table, so.
Fleabite will probably just like point at the water while just like trying to regain himself, and say, "Can of check see underwater at this at tower point."
What? What? Why were you? Were you trying to taste if there was anything under the water?
I don't think Fleabite would just say, "Water taste not of import. See if is much deep at that point, yes." While pointing at the tower and then where it like would correspond to the shoreline.
Well, let's go and have a look. Not much of a swimmer, to be honest with you.
Are you much of a floater, though? Surely sinking's the only skill needed here.
Yeah, that's true. Well,
Give Keldrith enough time he could get his seahorse.
Mhm.
Gildreth?
I'm looking it up just now.
Yep.
Can you wild shape fish?
No, not enough levels.
No, it's surprisingly high for the swim speed, isn't it?
It's only a few, but it ain't two.
Yeah.
It ain't two.
Now, who's got
Right.
the goldfish bowl?
I
Goldfish
have
bowl.
That was
two
a
choices
tink.
as I see it.
'Kay.
And my two choices are
There were no one seahorse. Another one was some weird fish.
a quipper,
What's a quipper?
It's like
a
a.
fish.
It's quite a.
What's a quipper with you?
Oh dear.
A carnivorous fish.
There you go.
with Sharp teeth. Oh, it's a piranha!
It's a piranha, yeah.
It's clearly a quipper. What are you talking about?
Why do they call it piranha?
Because it's a quipper.
Horse shit. I always thought piranhas were really quite cute. It's because their eyes are so big.
So
Like, it makes them look baby.
realistically, the quipper is probably better because it has dark vision and the seahorse doesn't.
That's what I'm just reading. Yeah.
Mhm.
And blood frenzy.
And it's double the swim speed.
It's a fast boy.
Mhm. Like, it does have worse perception, but it does have the ability to see in the dark.
Int 1. Not smart.
Like, it is
Okay.
the difference between Wiz 10 on the seahorse and Wiz 7 on the quipper.
So, where are we? We need to go back into here. To go there. I will fire this in again.
Okay, yeah.
Boom ba boo. Skibby ba boo.
So we're all aware.
Okay, so,
I'm going to take my hour.
yep. Redraw your
I'm
tattoo.
going to redraw the tattoo, drawing.
Check your nails. Yep.
Yeah. Make sure this isn't going to bite me whenever it comes off. No blood frenzy available. Nobody's bleeding, guys, are you?
It's your pet. It'll be fine.
Yeah, so an hour later, I will send the
Yeah.
quipper into the water.
Voiced by Callum, obviously.
I love that that's the Callum noise. He does make noises like that a lot.
So you want to dump this into the water? Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the awkward middle step though of you getting it out of your your shoulder bicep area where your tattoo is.
Chucking it in
like-
the water.
Yeah, I like the awkward middle step.
Draw it
It's
out.
fun. Mhm.
Yeah.
Get the
Um,
behind me fish scene.
Right, so you pop it into the water, and then I assume you sit in trance.
Yes. I
And
will
then-
do. I will need to get a quipper card.
It's okay. I'll get you one in a second. So I'll just assign this to everybody for now. So the token that's on the screen, you should be able to open that.
Yep.
Excellent. Righto. So, in you go. Look around. Give me your roll. Give me a perception. Or are we going to do investigate? That's probably better. Probably perception. Investigate would be a -5.
Yeah, I don't think it's much for investigating.
Depends if you're wanting to spend your inspiration on this as well. Because this one
Yeah, that
doesn't.
would be good.
It doesn't get
Fine.
advantage at the moment. That's all. So it's maybe worth. So you want to spend your in.
Yeah, go on. It'd be a good
Inspiration?
time to do it, I think.
Cool. So click on that coiled dragon on your character sheet, and it'll just make it.
Oh,
It'll just make it disappear.
Yep.
And then you can go back into your quipper, hit advantage, and then it's wisdom that you're rolling because it doesn't have the skill. It's just wisdom you're clicking on once the advantage is toggled on.
Skipper with advantage, and it's wisdom.
Not bad.
Hey, not bad at all.
If it had been bad, I was going to say maybe you should have used Wiz Smart, but you didn't roll badly.
That's
so
funny.
It would
Because
have been funny.
wisdom. I get it.
Ah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
It's good. Right. Yep, so you sit and channel in, put your inky quipper into the water. It swims around, you channel into it. You search around, and conveniently, weirdly, and strangely enough, there is some kind of tunnel once you get kind of below the beach level. And it does seem to go on much further past your 60 feet of dark vision.
Does it look big enough there it could take?
Yep.
Our size of characters?
Yep, it does. You probably couldn't swim side by side, but you could definitely make it through it. You probably couldn't fit a cart though in it.
And what is this swimming?
The worrying thing about it is swimming is a difficult terrain essentially unless you have a swim speed, and as we've discovered, how long you can hold your breath for, which is 1 plus con mod minutes. So what's your con mod, Finger? And Keldrath?
3.
So you're at 4 minutes as well. And what about you, Keldrath?
So Constitution,
Your mod,
2.
yeah, 2. Cool. So
3 minutes.
yep, 3 minutes for you, 4 minutes for them. So 3 minutes based on how fast you guys can move, and obviously monks get to ignore difficult terrain in certain things, right? So in theory, I guess you get to ignore difficult terrain if you were using key and moving the fastest. Not bad, not bad. So finding that, it clearly seems like that's at least a way in to the city, past the walls, because the fact that it goes that far. Yep. And do you wanna send your fish down a tunnel to maybe get
Yes, I wanted to go down as long as
like
tunnel
almost
as
as far as like the walls are going to allow at least as well, yeah. So like
Yeah.
you, just so you know, it definitely is a tunnel that goes under the wall. Essentially, is what you want to confirm. And yeah,
Yeah.
like your fish swims up, and yeah, it definitely seems to go as far and under the wall as it needs to, and it still goes all the way in, up to the 60 feet. And that's with that revelation is where we end the session. So yeah, seems like you've found a way in.
or a way under the wall at least.
Mm-hmm. So, let's move us back to our credit screen.
Mm.
What would you like to call the session? This is a terrible suggestion, but I just wanted to put Quip in there. Pretty sure the Quick and the Dead's a Western.
The quick, yeah, because quick is like living rather than just fast.
I also very much enjoyed just this image, which it's been sitting in one of my browsers for ages. Just I feel like that's what you were hoping for.
See, I was thinking where there's a wall, there's a way.
That's alright. That's alright.
That's too on the nose, so I thought where there's a wall. But
Okay.
then that's so ludicrously simple that it could just be an incredibly literal description of where we are.
Okay. Also just Barris. Just keep swimming. Yep. Also valid.
Feel that's going to be next time.
Yeah. However, they get used to the suffocation rules.
No breathing.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Ooh. I'm voting for myself. Fuck it.
Okay. Any other votes, peoples, or suggestions? I'll delete that image. That's in the way of all the.
As it's a family favourite film, I've got to go with Fleabite.
Okay. Fleabite. Are you going to do a call and vote for yourself? Or are you going to just vote for something else randomly?
Well, it's the 3-bet special.
Mm.
Again, you said you want to use it next time, didn't you?
Yes. That was funny. This one is not so much a good suggestion for a title as just a pun. um,
I have a fairly horrific fact about fish and dams, but I'll come back
There's
to
no
it.
such thing as dams.
mm,
Sorry, I don't know.
okay.
Just thought I'd say that.
So have we used underway before?
I don't think so.
Yeah, it rings like a strangely distant bell in my head, but
But it would be an odd one for when we've just reached our destination.
yeah, but it is. You're going like under, right? You're going the underway.
Going underground. Excuse me.
I did think that, but I didn't know how wombles we wanted to go. This is an obscure.
I'm not the only one that got
it. Yep. Yeah, like that's an obscure Muse reference because it starts with like "I think I'm drowning is succeeding."
I want to break the spell you've created.
Mhm,
Yeah. Something beautiful, a contradiction.
It's a great song, absolute great song.
It's one of. I'm not a big Muse fan, but I really like. Yeah.
Right. So we have those. So if Fleabite fixes his capitalization, I will just throw my vote onto that, and then that wins. We'll just use that. And that's just keep swimming. We'll do that for now.
Keep on rolling, baby. You know what time it is.
Fixed the other one.
I genuinely thought I was gonna have to re-edit it. Okay.
That sinking feeling was one that we did use.
Ah. Where was that used? Just on like I was gonna say like that'd be early, right? If it involves a boat.
Yes, that was Fleabite falling into. Oh, I remember now.
It was at the harbour where you all lived. Yep. Okay, so we have our name. Let's have a look at some goals.
Well.
Right, so we know we've discussed the top one.
But we're not in, so...
Yep. We did discuss that does involve getting in.
Haven't decided the fate.
Nope.
No deaths were stopped.
Nope.
Menglod wasn't defeated.
As far as we know.
Safe, secure exit to blah, blah, blah.
I mean, how do you feel about that, right? Secure a safe exit from the mountain.
I don't think we've done it yet, personally.
Okay. Don't forget that secret stash of wood that you have.
I've not been convinced of much this session, to be honest with you.
Yep, that's fair. Eltress has done very little.
Honestly, barely barely a peep out of in this session. It's poor showing.
Mhm.
Sorry. I kept the party alive, right?
You
I
have
think
done,
I've
and you can complete that now. That is done.
Yay.
It's
Things
finally
truly
done.
can only get better.
Imagine you just never healed MD from now on. That way he's had your time.
And now the customer, me not knowing what to replace it with, but
Yep. It's not like you haven't had a while to think about it.
I actually do have an idea, but I don't
Okay.
think it's a good one.
It's okay.
When has that stopped you before?
How
And
dare you?
Keldrath has not yet protected the dragon egg. So that's where
Although
we're
I had an opportunity.
right, what is our... Yeah, you did. You could have kept them in the bag.
Yes.
And, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, just dropped the bag now.
So, any goals changing? Okay, so I see yours, Vanguard, there. You've put in new staff question
I
mark.
I've inserted new staff. I will rephrase that in some better way.
Please do, because you
but-
do have a new staff that Fleabite gave you, right?
Yes, yeah, but you see what I mean in terms of his staff was not only a magic item, which
Mhm.
obviously this one isn't. It was also like a symbol from his god
Mhm.
that to him represented his mission.
Yeah.
And now we're sort of at the not closing, but like the crux, the most important step where they sort of either succeed or fail. Like from here on out, someone else can take the helm, but like if we don't find a solution here, this has all been a massive waste of time, and no one else is. Who else is working on something? Like this is as far as Vanguard's concerned. Obviously, who knows what other people are doing elsewhere in the world. But from Vanguard's perspective, this is it. This is the big moment.
And this is the crux of your mission.
Indeed. And so I think partly he's feeling a bit bereft because he doesn't have that emblem almost as much as a source of it's a sort of source of power to an extent. But it's more about what it represents. It's an emblem of his not really his office, because he was a priest before that. It's not like his god made him a priest, but it's an emblem of his mission. And I
Mhm.
think at this stage it would be very important symbolic to get him back. But I don't really know exactly what it would entail, and I understand that the magic item creation rules are not fully fleshed out.
Yeah, but you do also travel with someone that is kind of partly rebirthed with your staff, right?
True.
While your powers combined, you could always explore something, right?
That's the thought.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'll think of a way to reword that to be
Yeah.
just more descriptive, better. But for now, that conveys the idea, I think.
Okay, yeah. Anyone else changing their goals? Or any of the above goals?
I think the protected dragon egg is probably the wrong thing now.
Okay.
But only because I'm thinking more along the lines that we're going to have to release the dragon.
Release the dragon. Like that.
But yeah, more or less.
So do you want to replace the word
Um,
protect with hatch?
Unleash.
Pour? No, that's probably worse.
Ugh.
I'll think about it and I'll give you an answer through the week.
Sure, yeah.
Mm.
So
That's just the way I'm leading again. That it still comes down to what everybody else
Mhm.
thinks. Because Fleabite's still not giving us a definitive answer, but we're not going to discuss that at the moment until he's ready to discuss it with us.
Fleabite?
Or are we?
Goals. Any changing?
Repile for.
Say all that again.
I'm keeping mine for the moment.
Sure, cool. In that case then, we get XP, that's good. But, so, you get 900, right?
Yep.
So, what are we on now?
52800.
Not bad, not bad.
2800. If that's your phone number, sorry. or you're welcome.
Yeah, like either or. Comment below.
Sorry, you're welcome.
Rightio. And wrap up chat time. Trying to start us off. Vanger.
No. Yes. I do and or don't. And yeah, this is it was definitely a whole lot of going in circles. To be fair,
Going in Circles would have been a great title.
Yeah.
it would have been, but none of us thought of that somehow.
You spin me right round.
Yep.
Like a record.
Like a quipper, baby.
So yeah, we did do that. That thing that we could have used as a title, but didn't. And we also sort of found our way eventually.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was in terms of actual ground covered in game. Like we did a fair amount of walking around and investigating. It's not, although we didn't have a NPC to meet or a combat encounter or what have you. It's not like it was a session in which nothing happened. It's just that what was happening was us looking for things. So it might not have been hugely exciting. But it is nice to finally be on the literal precipice, the doorstep, just that little step away. So fantastic, happy. I look forward to seeing if we can maybe negotiate my personal goal next week, sort of as like a preparation for entering the city.
Okay.
And I think it's going to be interesting to see how we do the swimming.
I can't wait to see how you tackle swimming. Yeah.
I think I'm going in the bag, considering my like strength and dex are like both like 1, I think, or is my dex like 0? Dex is 0, strength mod's 1. Because everyone in this party like went out their way to create mechanically suboptimal characters. I was like, it's probably reasonably strong, but not very agile. Because dex and agility are they're the same thing. It doesn't matter. Anyway, yeah. So intriguing. We're down a person again. Sadly, it happens. Are we?
I was gonna say for the foreseeable, I think we're gonna be down a person depending on how our attendance goes, because I think our schedule's a bit up in the air at the moment.
Oh
so
yeah,
we'll play all that by ear. Is the best.
We'll make it work. We'll do it live. Fuck it, we'll do it live. Anyway, yeah, I'm very excited for what is to come in the very near future.
And obviously, if you want to make use of the during the week availability with me to discuss the preparations for the preparations, that would be good.
Yeah.
It just summarizes us.
Do that.
Yeah.
I don't have as much through the week time as I would like, but possibly sometime.
Even if it's just
like
messaging
night,
back
maybe?
and forth, whatever works. As long as we can get something that isn't us just having to do mechanics next week. So yep, sounds good to me. Yeah. And I must also highlight again, just those initial 4 investigation rolls were fucking incredible. Just for spending like 4 days to circle the entire like outer banking and actually have like nothing lower than an 18 in the 4 separate rolls was kind of ridiculous. So not bad at all. Anything else, Wenger?
No, I will wrap up with that for now.
Yes, and Fleabite.
Speaking yes. That was quite something with the early rolls. Which, like, is not something I'm not even entirely sure why I have.
Why you could investigate good? Is it not maybe from your urchin background? It was an auto take?
Probably.
It might be. I don't know what urchin gives you, so yeah.
I do have a vague recollection of having 1 spare and being like, oh, I've already got acrobatics, athletics, and stuff.
No, Archon
covered.
gives you sleight of hand and stealth, so it wasn't those.
Mhm.
Interesting.
It also obligates you to pick a pocket or two. Well, you've got to pick a pocket or two.
Of
Indeed.
course. I have to
Yeah.
cry over here.
I done that show in school.
Nice.
Spirit of Alec Guinness is strong. And yeah, just of course, it's like touching water.
I love that you're like, can I taste the water? Sure. Rolls a 1. Perfect flea bite roll.
What? I've forgotten what is taste.
It's like, fresh water. Where's all the flavour? Yep. Oh, good.
And yeah, that investigate then rolling a 6, but then getting up to a 16. Well, help and
Yeah, your psychic powers and your help, from guidance. It was good.
and I like to believe, what's it, the old father?
The Great Father.
He gave me that whole 4, the crit success on that.
Yeah, he was fully trying to help Vanguard out, totally. Like, 100% on board, like, yes, please find this tunnel. It was good.
So that was good.
It was really good.
Yeah, excited to see how things play out, and hopefully, because I won't be here, so hopefully I don't just drown, but and I don't lose too much from my bag, because I will be having to get that wood back. That was a cool bit of door with an emblem on it. That would be great, in the stash.
Yeah. Maybe you want to just give them some kind of AI scripts in the chat during the week for what Fleabite is likely to do in certain scenarios.
If lose item, no. Yeah, so I thought that went fairly well, and then just the image of Keldrath just speeding over the water.
It was pretty damn good. Running across the water is just cool, regardless of how many times you do it. It's just a cool ability to be able to do. To just go, okay, everything in the bag, I'll run us across, sorted. Aye. It is nice. Yes. Anything else, Fleabite?
Yeah, I think that's all to report.
No problem.
But sometimes I do think we should name the episodes after we've done the wrap up, because we always so many times come up with such good.
That is true. It is true.
Hey, if you want to change the name now to Going in Circles, we can. I just need to retype it. That's all I need to do. So what's
Okay, 1 vote for that.
right? So Fleabite, Keldrath, are we switching it?
Yes, I can't remember what actually.
Walking in circles or going in circles?
I think it
Which
was
is
Going in
better?
Circles, right?
Yeah, I think going is better.
Going
Yeah.
is, I think, yeah.
Okay, I'll change it to that, Going in Circles. And that means we
Going,
still
yeah,
get
going.
Just Keep Swimming for next week if we need it.
Exactly.
There you go. Going in Circles. Look at that. See, I can change the name.
Swamming.
Yeah. There's considering it's so arbitrarily designed anyway, it's not like you were locked in once we voted.
It's an iron law of the universe.
Yeah.
Right?
Going in Circles is valid. Yes. Anything else for that?
Sorry. Going in circles.
Oh dear. Anything else, Fleabite?
Yeah,
All
that's
good. Cool. Keldrath?
Yeah, again, a week of investigating and searching. I sillily looked up that if you were actually going to try and walk across water or run across water, you would have to run at 80 kilometers an hour to be able to achieve it. So that makes that even even more of a thing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Oh, I'm
so-
real fast.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, these are just fun days. I mean, you've got to that stage. You've gone round that wall outer. You've gone round the inner, and you're sitting there going, "We're not getting in here." So that's, and then you think to yourself, "I'm just going to climb up and go over the wall vertically." That's not the way you want to do it, but it's an option for us. You know what I mean? That or swimming in the sewers. Kildrath's got a decision to make next week.
Swim in the sewer.
Yeah, but that's the thing though. You didn't see any sewage. That's why like Fleabite didn't necessarily have a fun time drinking the water. Yeah, and like yous have been obviously filling your, water skins. I always takes me a second to buffer that word for some reason. But you always as you were going round, you have been drinking of this water. So.
So this could actually be an inlet for fresh water rather than an outlet for dirty water.
Could be. So yeah, but it would be a bit more obvious if there was sewage. Yep.
Yeah.
So there is that at least. That's definitely something you've got.
Just to cut in 270 feet in 12 seconds is slower than Usain Bolt.
That's terrifying.
Well,
Wow.
now you know.
Yeah. And he couldn't walk in water.
No.
Do everything else, but...
Yeah. So you have that over him at least.
You know who could walk on water?
And you've got lightning breath. So I don't think
You know who else had lightning breath?
Yep, please continue.
One last little thing for discussion. Are we still allowed to say meta?
How do you mean? Yeah, we're still allowed it. Yeah.
It's illegal because the word now belongs to
Oh dear. Yeah.
Yes, His Majesty.
Yes.
Zuckerberg 2.0 or whatever he is.
Yeah, the true
And I don't
illicit.
care if he hears this and gets upset at it. I don't give a damn about Facebook.
Imagine he was our only fan.
So,
Meta.
Yeah. Now we're allowed to say meta in the meta, right? I don't think you can. Can he just claim that word? I hope not. I guess we'll find
I mean,
out.
for certain purposes, absolutely, but not carte blanche sort of thing.
Yeah. So yeah, I think we're good. Plus, we kind of don't necessarily use the term meta that much in my games anymore. We kind of say player agency moments now, and that is kind of assumed that we talk in the meta
Agency?
or PAPS.
No,
player
that's
agency
unpleasant.
pause.
No, you can't say that.
Yeah. Okay. So anything else, Kildrath?
No, that's it. It's just
Okay.
another good session, another good fun session. So
And you finally got to use your quipper.
I did. I really wanted to use a seahorse though, but I mean,
Yeah, it was mechanically the quipper was just that tiny bit more beneficial
Better.
to you. Yeah.
for what we're actually looking at.
Yeah, like next time you want to explore like a well lit piece of water though, you could definitely use the seahorse.
Oh, when I'm trying to distract somebody at a well,
Exactly.
just send a seahorse in, and yeah,
Exactly.
we've all seen it in the Marvel movies.
Yep, totally works. Yep. Well, with that in mind, then hopefully we won't be too disrupted with the next couple of weeks coming. But I know we do have a lot of scheduling issues over the next couple of weeks, so we'll see how well we do as a group. But until we know for definite, I assume we're on. Thank you everybody for playing. That was a lot of fun. I, as a GM, are very excited that you are now about to cross the threshold, essentially, which is kind of exciting. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you have committed to going under the tunnel. You might go over the wall. So it'll be interesting to see which way you choose. But yeah, I'm excited to see where that goes. It's been a long time coming, getting to Barris. So
Some it has been, yeah.
I am quite excited. And also the long-term goal that Vanker has had for so goddamn long is nice. I can't remember where that goal appeared, but yeah. It's been
it was a
while.
long time ago now.
Yeah, like, it's been a while.
It's been a while.
So yeah, thank you everybody who watched as well. All the inspiration Siren gave out as well, that was excellent.
Very nice.
Yes, say goodbye everybody. Goodbye.
You know.
Goodbye, everyone.